I have done the thing.
Okay. Um. All right. Hey everybody, welcome back to. Oh shit! I forgot to change the title. Never mind. I can't do it now on the
Yep.
stream. That's gonna be a pain for later. But anyway, um, welcome back to another episode of NASA 5E. I am this week's DM, Corey. We're jumping back into the Eberron coast. It's been over a year since the last time I ran a session of this. So I went back and I did a little bit of listening, mostly today, just to kind of get a vibe of like where we left off. So, basically, you guys were on the Sword Coast. Some You were contacted by a Mages Guild. The Mages Guild's like, hey, there's this group of cultists who are doing some bad shit. Go stop them from getting this thing. And then you get the thing and you bring it back to the Mages College. And Mages College is like, hey, we have an idea of where these cultists might be. You go stop them. At which point, some of you decided to join the cult. Um, uh,
Man, I hate to be those guys.
yeah, right. Xanalor and Stock, you guys helped Hildraith and his rebellion, actually, were in their attempts to try to uh, free from imprisonment some ancient elemental titans that were deep under Neverwinter, whose life force essentially was being harnessed for stabilizing the primaterial plane. You guys launched some expeditions. You vendor with the Mages College. Did I pronounce that right? It's been a long time since I tried to say anything other than Vendi.
You're right.
Vendor. Okay. You went to an island. You guys both went to island, or both groups went to islands. I don't remember the name of either of the islands. But that's not important.
Hawaii.
Uvender was able to successfully convince the mages of the Tempest to come and bolster the numbers at the Mages College of Neverwinter in anticipation of an assault by Hildraith and his cultists. Um, Xanalor and Stock, with Hildraith and his rebels, went to an island to retrieve another magical artifact known as the Spell Sink. Um, Together with Brew and the Spell Sink, the cultists launched an expedition into the Deep Vault at the Mages College of Neverwinter, and they were able to get down into the Chamber of the Titan. When they got close, the ley line, or the connection to the magical ley lines of the Primaterial Plane and the Elemental Titans, was severed. They turned to dust immediately, and everything started going bananas. After fighting against a essentially a god who had been posing as a different god, known as the Mockery. You guys defended Hildraith, Xantor, and Varen as they worked on a ritual to fuse the Brew Spell Sync machination into the magic ley lines of the Primaterial Plane. You guys were successful, as were they, and the realm was stabilized, but not before a whole mess of stuff from a place called Eberron, apparently, was sort of spliced into the Sword Coast, and it has been a process of map cartography expeditions and things like that. But there are some rough mappings of what has happened. After that, Stock started an adventuring guild. Um, Xanalor did mysterious things, mostly pertaining to his metal man, and also learned carpentry. Um, and Vendi decided that he was going to go to start his career in politics and became the advisor to the Stewart of Neverwinter, Stewart Niels Mayer, and came up with some really good ideas. A merchants guild was formed, like a shipping guild more so. It was like an adjunct to the merchants guild.
It's like the
Um,
Teamsters.
Right. And like so that got kind of fleshed out, and the this shipping guild, they hired freelance adventurers to, so like basically there's a policy that there's an adventurer that goes with each caravan to try to prevent any shenaniganry. What else? Agriculture school was started at Vendi's suggestion. A census of the people left in Neverwinter and Fairhaven, newly dubbed Winter's Haven at Vendi's suggestion. And a council was formed, subsisting of members of both former cities. I don't remember why you guys went to go fight those like bandits. And there was an orc
I
tribe.
think it was they were raiding a trade post.
It was the trade route, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yes, there were some issues with the shipping guild, and these orcs had been, or these bandits, known as was it the Black Fist? Something like that. They were
face.
Stormy
they,
season, trade driven onto tradeway from seas.
right, yes, because of the stormy season, right? Yeah. Hurricanes essentially had been forcing trade inland more heavily, and people capitalized. You guys put a stop to that. Also, you saved a half-orc woman who, Stock, you'll probably have her name somewhere. She's part of your adventuring guild.
If April hadn't stolen my notebook.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's somewhere. But anyway, she came and joined your adventuring guild after kind of exploring the Eberron coast for herself a little bit. Xanalor kind of you have sort of taken someone under your wing in a way. Eric, the former college student turned cultist / rebel, returned to college student. Let's see what else. You guys went to investigate the strange silence coming from the city of Sharn, down in the south part of the New Eberron coast. You guys traversed the demon wastes, which were pretty crazy. You guys got attacked by some was it orc chieftains and stuff in there. That was a little more intense than I intended. And then you guys came upon the city of Sharn, which was completely silent, despite the fact that it's like a 22-story city of skyways and bridges and bustling merchant life. Anyway, everybody's clothes were just kind of left around, akin to like in Dragon Ball Z when Cell would come to town and drain people's life. And you guys found like the last remaining denizen, a man by the name of Elyamut, who turned out to be Rakshasa, and you guys healed him, and he essentially swore vengeance on Xanalor, I believe, got the killing blow.
And then Xanalor also claimed the entire town for himself, and
he wanted to post.
There's a Motel 6.
Yeah, I was actually listening to the end of our very last session. I still haven't done some of the things that I said I was going to do because I forgot I said I was going to do them. Like Stock, you had inquired about the cost of increasing your +1 glaive to a +2 glaive. I was actually planning on looking some things up to give you an answer on that if I hadn't already. But then I got distracted by Alexis's car. You got your spring-loaded magical tackle box, a gift from Vendi for you, Stock, which gives you, I believe, it was a +1 or +2 to survival checks made for like fishing.
With my magical fishing rod.
With your magical beating stick, which is a rod of angling, yeah. Xanalor, you wanted signs put up all around Xanaloria.
Yep.
Vendi. Oh, Vendi, you gave 115 gold pieces to, I believe it was the temple in Winter's Haven where you guys went to get something cured, and you guys were kind of baffled at the cost of it all. But you gave you donated 115 gold to the temple so that the next family or person, whoever came in who couldn't afford the like greater restoration services, essentially, could be covered. And that's where we left off last time.
I just want to say, just generally with the dibs on Xanaloria thing, I need to work out also with you of my plan to have a road built and have people actually live in the city again.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a
Let me.
someday thing to figure out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just looked up what I named all my weapons.
Yeah.
And it's toy slingshot and log : it's better than bad. It's good.
Oh, sorry, Vendi, you were also cursed by Elyamut.
That's why we went to Carrick.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
You guys there was a curse
Yes.
placed on you. Yeah.
Yep, I see that now.
So we did the job we needed to, or like we accomplished the task to get the blessing to undo the curse. And then that's also what led me to be like, oh, why is this so fucking expensive? Threw some
And-
money. It's like, next person's good.
And Vendi was interested in this land booze cruise business with Cornelius something. Tyrer.
Booze
Have you mentioned him?
Cruise.
Actually, is that one that's specific to Vendi or all of my characters?
Pretty sure it's all of your characters.
Yeah, I have it in a note.
Yeah.
It was like one of my last couple notes. So I just wanted to say it out loud.
It was true. My character did use Booze Cruise as a rationale to do things.
Because we met that guy on the boat back to Winter's Haven.
Yeah.
And then we saw the Cardinal.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Like every episode that gets on, my character becomes more and more like Varric from The Legend of Korra.
I don't know what that
Okay.
is, but I'll take your word.
It's
Okay.
it's something worth watching.
Okay. I do have. So, is there any questions or anything like that I can answer before we kind of get moving a little bit?
Am I a
I
dude
think we
playing
kind
a
of nailed
dude who thinks he's another dude?
the recap.
Yeah,
You
The
definitely are a
macro
dude.
story.
Yeah, you're a dude playing a dude who is pretending not to be that dude.
Okay.
Way to go, Jude Law.
Any other questions specifically, guys?
There
you
was
first, Scott.
there was an object we found on Elyamut, whatever his name was, that my note said it was in Nevis's possession. Do we know who has that now?
Mm-mm. I'll try to figure that out afterwards.
Okay.
Cool.
That's my only question.
If it's
Here
not
we
in
go.
his inventory, it's a chance it's gone forever.
I have
Do you
craftable.
remember?
I could always go back and listen to.
Okay.
That's a nice thing about recording these sessions. If I upload them, because I think I missed I missed at least the last Storm King's Thunder one, but it's okay. I have them saved on my computer.
I have craftable vines for the kite machine as a custom-made item. And then sticks for making kites as well. So I'm assuming that my character is interested in making a glider, but I don't remember where I'm at on that. So I'm just gonna say I have those two items, and we have not dealt with the construction at all, and we can deal with that after the session. Because I don't know why I did that.
So I have two. I've got something for. I've got something written up for stock. I've got something written up for Xanalor. And then Vendi will hammer out the details of your kite glider thing. We can either handle that entirely improvisationally or after the session.
After the session, because I need to go back and figure out what I was even attempting to do with this.
Okay. Okay, so you guys returned from Sharn. You're back into some downtime. I don't remember if there's anything that you guys were working on in downtime specifically. Give me a second here. I have stuff on my TV too small. I want to increase the player avatar size so that I can, see better. Okay. All right. So, during the downtime, Stock, among many other things you've been doing, you've been spending your time at your guild hall. You paid for it. May as well enjoy it some. You find the company of your guild members to be calming to you in some ways. At the very least, it's new stories from real adventurers who aren't looking to take the piss like the blowhards of the Wing and Wyvern. Uh, One morning, late in the week, you arrive at the guild hall at daybreak. You've made a habit of coming in early on days where you particularly seek silence. Before Vendi wakes up and starts his shenanigans, before Xanalar's brooding becomes so heavy it actually has a sound, and it's loud. And before the guild members rise from a day of working and a night of drinking. You arrive on this particular day, and you notice that something is off. The usual leftover tankards and empty plates, they're not there. The air doesn't smell of stale beer. The place is clean. Not cleaned out, but cleaned. And that's when you notice him. The natural tones of his robes almost blending into the dark wooden hall, barely lit by the morning sun. An old man. A man so old, his standing before you defies logic. A man whose wrinkled beige skin brings back many fond memories from your past. The man before you is Kasang Tensho, the caretaker of your former master's property. He doesn't speak, though his wise eyes seem to pierce you.
I'm gonna stare at him for a while. I don't trust this. This is too random. It's too clean, too random. There are no drunk people passed out on tables. I am going to brood for a while and analyze. I would like to
Okay.
perceive his intentions or insight into why he is here.
Okay. Why don't you roll an insight check?
Okie dokie. Let's go with 14.
14. Okay. So as you stare at him, trying to kind of get a glimpse into what his mannerisms might be trying to convey, because he's certainly not speaking. He's just sitting there quietly, staring at you in a way that brings back so many memories. uh, you can't tell why he's here or what he might want. And honestly, at this point, you're kind of not really sure what he's expecting of you. But from what you can gather, based on his dress, based on sort of the just ancient air about him, it seems to be Master Tensho, or Caretaker Tensho, himself. Um,
Alright.
After about like 5 minutes of you staring down this old man and him just staring you down slash through you slash into you, it's really hard to tell how deep his gaze is really boring. He eventually speaks up and he says, hang on a second. Groovy is way too spicy right now. He says, you have forgotten much of your lessons. There's no weakness to bowing, even to the man who will try to take your life. He kind of keeps staring at you for a moment as you like stare at him like, the hell are you? And then he cracks a small smile, and he offers himself for an embrace with you.
You can, since I'm still wearing my normal, garb, the mask and all that, my ears, you can see the face contort into a smile around the sides of the head and embrace him, give him a good slap on the back and go, well, I'm surprised you're not dead yet. It's a impressive feat for someone as ancient and ornery as you.
He chuckles. Um, you remember, so though Keseng Tensho was the caretaker of your former master's property, he also filled in as essentially like a part-time master for you. You learned a lot from Master Tensho. While he was an intense man, which made him the best teacher, Master Tensho was wise, and his external demeanor really just thinly hid a deeply caring man. Um, and like as you embrace him, like that like memory is kind of brought back. He says, I had heard of a new a new guild with a rather exotic and figured it had something to do with you, especially once word reached me of the heroes who stopped the Arcaniclism. He sits at one of the tables and he asks you to he sits down. He motions to another chair at the table. Again, this place is like sterling spotless. And he says, I'd like to hear a bit about your travels. The journey to Winter's Haven was long. For now, I would like to rest and feast my mind on stories of adventure.
Well, after hearing that, I definitely offer him some tea and or something stronger as he sees fit, and then begin regaling him with the adventures of our stupidity.
Um, he he says tea is fine. Um, you begin to like start telling story like while the tea is brewing, and he stops you. Remember yourself. You speak over tea. And he kind of like goes into like almost like a. It was always tough to tell with Master Tensho because of how freaking old he always looked. Whether it was him sleeping or meditating, sometimes the line between the two is almost zero. Um, as you regale him with the tales of your stupidity and adventure, he stops you periodically throughout your story at like different moments throughout the happenings of the first arc of our campaign of the Arcanicalism, and asks you like what sort of lessons you learned from various parts of the tales you tell. After you finish telling him everything, he just kind of regards you for a long time. You notice that sometime during your storytelling, the members of the guild had awoken and are finishing their first meal. Some have already left to take care of business for the day. Eventually, Master Tensho says, "Your training was never completed, but he would have been proud of the proud warrior you've become. He would be most proud that you never really stopped trying to learn his lessons. But it's settled then. I will stay. I will tend this guild while you're away, because away is where you will find you need to be, and away is where you will find you always end up."
Well, that's good because these dumb fucks could use some whooping into shape. As I motion to the idiots behind me, the members and various denizens who make their way in and out of the guild hall.
Um,
They could greatly
one
benefit
of
from your teachings.
one of the members of your guild, I really I know I have this written down somewhere. Who all is in the guild? Um, was it during?
Maybe I have it
Wait, hang
in
on,
front
hang
of
on,
me.
hang on. I've got something here. Hold on. Guildmates. Let's see. Let me read through this really quick. Oh, Elaine Elderberry. She is the cynical halfling paladin from an enchanted forest who saw her whole family consumed by a gelatinous cube. She's definitely been one of the ones who doesn't typically fall asleep in the barracks, but on top of whatever table she was sitting at. But as you make mention of your guildmates needing a little bit of shaping up, you see Elaine look over at you guys, and she's like rubbing her hand. And you remember quite clearly how Master Tencho would smack the ever living shit out of the back of your hands when you got out of line.
Just
And you
chuckle to
see he still
myself.
has like what are those called? It's like a tonfa, like the basically like a reverse club kind of thing that would go along the forearms
Yeah.
that you could like kind of spin.
Mm.
I remember that specifically from uh Tekken when we would play
Hmm.
that all the time. There was the person who had the dual tonfas, but yeah, um, he still has that on his side. Still wood, still very old, but well tended.
Hard to
Definitely,
tell which is
you've seen
older.
like there's some places, yeah, like you can tell that they're either mahogany or just really well varnished with use. Um, but yeah, so Master Tensho goes back to his tea. He asks you to pour him another cup. He just kind of sits back and quietly observes the rest of your guild members as they're, um, getting started. You notice that they're actually kind of bussing their meal. Elaine must have told them a bit about her rude awakening from Master Tensho. Um, but things are already looking like they'll be improving.
uh, I'm gonna just make a quick announcement to everybody that they're introducing Master Tensho, letting them know that he is a guild master alongside myself, and you should rue crossing him.
Um, Master Tencho, after your announcement, he actually stands up. He bows to the guild members. He says, "Yes, I will be active, or I will be acting guild master while Stock is away, which he will be often, as will you. We will keep busy. We will keep this guild running, and I'm sure that Master Stock would also like the guild to keep growing. So your exploits, your hang on a second. He's not hedging. I'm losing the word. Obedience and dedication will grow this guild both in reputation and in wealth. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Um, I would like to start holding meetings with you to meet you, kind of get a feeling for who you are and where you're at. I believe firmly that no one can manage the men under him unless they know what their skills are. You have to place people into places where they'll succeed. And he bows again and sits back down to his tea. Anything else you want to do with this scene, Stock?
Nope, I am good at the moment. I'm
Okay.
waiting to see how he interacts with Vendi and Xanilor. That's going to be interesting.
That actually does lead us to a pretty good question. So obviously, I shouldn't say obviously. So Stock's. Let me switch maps here. I don't remember if I put it on the map or not, but Stock's guild is not in the same area as your guys's
Freeze home.
Breeze home. Yeah, it's not the same place at least. Uh, what would your guys' involvement with the guild be? It can be as maximum or minimal as you want. I assume that Xanilor's involvement is fairly low.
Yep. I think I just kind of like I know who they are, but I'm probably not involved at all, really beyond just we say hi now and then, or they say
Sure.
Yeah,
hi
I
to
think
me when I walk by.
Well,
I
they
think this is just one of those where like Vendi checks in but doesn't really have any sort of um major involvement with
Mhm,
the guild. He obviously knows he can trust Stock. Wants to make sure that he's doing well in case they ever have to work together. Tries to keep that professional relationship where it needs to be, but is more so at making sure that resource allocation isn't going to cause major strife in Winter's Haven.
mhm.
And because of that, he's always in a different place every day, making
Sure.
sure that food is not going to be in short supply. We don't have to ration. Supply lines are always free and efficient. And then trying to find um, potential trades for people who so that they just don't sit on their hands. That I think is going to consume a majority of his time.
So you're kind of like a you focus on the day-to-day stuff. You're the man on the streets. You're shaking hands, kissing babies. Like you're in the trenches, like working on this stuff, not doing it from like a council chambers kind of thing, right?
I think it's more so like a community organizer,
Okay, sure.
where it comes down towards like yes, he's in the room where we can talk about the high level, how do we solve these problems, but
Hmm.
he's more interested in making sure that the problems we fix are the ones that are going to have the biggest effect on the general populace in a positive direction. Um, he tends to not be involved in anything where it comes to like conscription or military matters. This is more
Hmm.
so like how do we make sure that people aren't getting lost in the seams?
Okay, sure. Um, so I might give you some more names at some point, Stock, or this might just be kind of an abstract concept. But while people are like displaced and things like that, and while you've been in town like downtime, like actually tending to the guild, like doing adventures for the guild and stuff like that, and just keeping the guild busy, you have noticed that part to vendors workings. there has actually been people who have been not necessarily like placed at the guild, but like you found that like membership has increased because some of the people who were part of Fairhaven or whatever, who lost jobs or things like that, they picked up like training and stuff like that. And you'll see like, if you have a group of like two adventurers who are going out on like a lower level but still important task through the guild, you'll see like one what we would call a commoner with them, who is like mostly carrying pack and stuff like that, but is also being trained on like survival skills, fighting techniques, and things like that. So there's like almost like an apprenticeship program that's kind of started through the city of Winter's Haven, in part with you vendors work to make sure that like everything is like flowing smoothly through the town. I think Vendi, with you being um, honestly as naturally gifted as you were from the get-go with the steward on problem solving this kind of stuff, you probably wind up finding yourself with more on your plate than you thought you would on any given day. There's always like an extra thing on the list. um, but one day, Vendi, when you go into to the guild to you do follow-ups and things like that, not like wellness checks and stuff, but you follow up, you see like what capacity the guild has and stuff like that, because again, you're trying to manage your resources and manage the town's resources. And one day you go and you see someone who you've never seen before. He is I don't want to say bent, because he's not. He is the probably most spry looking um, old purse of a man that you've ever seen. And he seems to be kind of like, you don't see stock in that day, but you do see this man. And he sees you come in, and he just kind of watches you to see what you're doing.
Um, hey there. My name is Uvender. Um, sorry, I'm really bad at introductions. Is Stock around?
The old man, he's got like his arms kind of tucked in his sleeves. He gives like a deep bow, pauses for a time that you think is kind of a little bit excessive, but he comes back up. He says, "My name is Master. Dang, why? Master Tensho. I remember the last name. The first one started with a K, and I liked it, but I can't remember what it was now. But my name is Master Tensho. I am a former teacher of Master Kino, and I am the acting guild master when Master Kino is away, which away he is today. I expect he'll be back either this evening or um, roughly first light tomorrow.
Well, first off, welcome. Um, as I don't have any official capacity here, I used to travel with Stock, but I'm glad to see that this guild is growing. Um, Thank you for all that you're doing with helping us get the apprenticeship program going. Trying to make sure that our town um, isn't just surviving these last few months, but has a chance to be something greater. So I need to start off with my appreciation for that. Um,
Can you, real quick before you continue, can you roll an insight check for me?
sure. That's a 13 plus 9, so 22.
Okay. You notice that when you mention that you were one of Stock's traveling companions, you notice kind of a softening of the man's expression. And then when you mention that you've been the one kind of spearheading this apprenticeship program and allocating these new individuals who are eager to work for the Adventuring Guild to the Adventuring Guild, um, he he gives like you see like almost like a quick smile on his face, and he gives you kind of like a head bow. um um but yeah, you can continue. Sorry, I just wanted to
Yeah.
Sure.
Just yeah. I'm pretty certain that we'll find somebody who's just a natural fit for the Adventurers Guild, and we'll join that way. But yeah, I just hope the apprenticeship allows us to kind of be like a holding pattern, develop some skills so that we can end up creating outposts and new supply lines, and not just a town full of lifelong adventurers. Because I mean, myself included, most adventurers' lives aren't very long. But yeah, is there anything that we can do to help you with this business relationship?
He looks at you. You notice kind of what I was talking about before. He has this very kind of piercing gaze where like it's not uncomfortable, but you can tell like he sees much, says little, but understands the most. He says to you, uh, ambition is life's greatest drug, but you must not forget to take care of those matters closest to home, in your own home. He says, I can tell that you are working very hard, but you need to care for yourself as well. As you've said, the life of adventure is not a long one, but it doesn't need to be cut needlessly short by not caring for oneself. As far as things that we can do to improve the relationship, I believe this was a great step. It's been wonderful to meet you. Obviously, as an adventuring companion of Master Kino's, you have the ability to come and go as you please, as well as join in on any adventures should you choose. And we'll keep placing people in situations where they're most likely to come back.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I really think this is gonna open up some options for us in the future. But I do need to apologize. I just got informed an hour ago that I need to get close to the beach Leviathan. One of our desalinators has broken down, and that's going to lead to a water shortage. So once again, my name's Vendi. If you end up just asking anyone to find me, whatever you need, we'll do our best to make sure it happens.
He just gives
And
you
then,
another deep bow, like when you introduce yourself to him, and says no more.
and then I turn around and I quickly pace my way towards the beach Leviathan.
Okay.
And I just go, it's like, all right, that went better than expected.
Well, you came correct. I will say that. Vendi has, as Councilman Vershad, he has definitely come into his own a bit. Where I think had Vendi met with Master Tensho, a couple months ago, probably would have gotten cracked with the Tonfa.
Can I take one psychic damage for knowing that what would have happened if I didn't go on this adventure?
Yes.
Okay.
Which Xanalor, that brings us to you. Obviously, without you, the members of Stock's Adventuring Guild, but not because you go to the guild hall. Mostly because they're either you've seen them coming and going or whatever. But I don't think you would actually meet Master Tensho.
If he's only in the guild hall,
yeah, he would not come to seek you.
it's unlikely then.
Yeah.
Well, for my own amusement, I would have told them stories of Xanalor, and some of the more junior guild members would have a irrational fear of him, just for my own amusement.
Sure. So what I will say to you is, so if you've kind of told Master Tensho a bit about Xanalor and what his roles, decisions, and things like that were during the adventure, he would say to you to tread lightly with Xanalor. One who seeks death so freely is not one who should be sought. So that's part of the reason why you never get called upon by Master Tensho, Xanalor. He'll gladly meet you when you come to see him, but yeah. However, Xanalor, so you spend time by the what was the name of that bridge? Right, there was a bridge.
Let me open my file.
near the Blue Lake district, I think, that you spend a lot of time at.
I think it's this thing. There's Fletcher's Point, the park on a hill overlooking the river near the Dolphin Bridge.
Yep, that was it, Fletcher's Point. So you spend a lot of time at Fletcher's Point, reflecting, attempting to commune. It has been going better lately. It's not. You've discovered that you don't need to write in the journal to commune with your patron. It does still work. The frequency of communication has not improved.
Okay.
You get answers in you get the same cryptic answers in your head as you do in writing. Sometimes they come as visions. You're still never quite sure what it is that your patron wants from you, other than at least for now, there's not a negative connotation to what you're getting. Like you're not doing anything wrong. And that one of the sort of like directives that you've been given is to like continue to grow your power.
Right.
So one evening after you have been at the Fletcher's Point, you come back to the Breeze home, and shortly after you arrive at the Breeze home, you're the only one there for now. You hear a knock at the door. It's pretty late. It's dark. The light in the Breeze home is purely from the lanterns, and there are some street lanterns outside as well.
If I've been the only one there, I've probably been milling about with like my eye patch kind of flipped up.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tuck that back down.
Okay.
And try to look through one of the windows if I can get a glance at who might be out there.
Make a perception check for me.
Okay. That's not good. That is a 4.
Okay. You see a figure. It is a single figure. It appears to be a humanoid creature.
Someone at the door.
It is waiting patiently. I will say that, like from what you can tell, like this individual has knocked, is waiting, is not like waiting to like peer through windows or anything like that. They're not looking over their shoulder, like with any sort of nervousness, I guess would be the word that I was thinking of there.
Sure.
So yeah, they're just standing there waiting. Like I said, one person.
Yeah, then I'll just go and open the door with just keep one foot kind of behind it, so if they try to jam it open.
Sure. So as the door opens and the light from the Breeze home kind of spills out into the street, you see that it illuminates the face of Eric, the now college Mages College student who you met at that island, and then also spoke to again at the Mages College after the Arcanicalism had been averted. He says, I wasn't sure that I would find you. I wasn't sure where to start looking. It's Eric, by the way. I don't know if you remember.
Of course.
I don't know why I'm here, or really what you had in mind when you offered to talk. But your offer of being available to talk just keeps like popping up in my mind.
I open the door wider. Come in. We should talk.
Thank you. He comes in. He takes off the hood of his robes. Remember the Mages College's robes are kind of a brilliant purple in color. You can tell that his is it's well worn. He probably had it when he was at the college before. He says, you notice that it's also a little bit thick. So like he's got like the hair along his brow is like a little bit like stuck to his head. He says, do you mind? Is there somewhere I can put this? I got this cloak when I was at the Mages College in Luskin, and now that I'm here in Neverwinter, it's considerably warmer.
Right. Yes. So we have a coat rack by the door.
Okay. Yeah. He like undoes the brooch, which is just like it just has the symbol of the Mages College on there. It's nothing like super fancy or anything like that. And he hangs it up, and He just kind of like looks around with his hands together, like kind of like nervously rubbing them, looking around.
I bid him over to. We have a couple chairs,
He sits.
and I'll sit across from him.
Um,
Yes, you have
sorry.
something to say.
No, I'm just opening my mouth, hoping that things come out. I don't know why I'm here. I really, I'm happy. I'm happy at the college.
But you feel held back.
The
I could do this.
atmosphere has improved. There's more transparency for sure. Like I know we talked about that a lot. Um, but like some practices are still forbidden.
So that's why I found myself drawn to you. I think we share a desire for more than we've been given.
Yeah. So one of the things that's like explanations are at least now offered in situations and instances where a certain spell or practice is not encouraged as a path by the college. But I find myself wanting to know more, and I guess now that we're actually like talking, like I sort of hope that like you might be able to teach me something at least. I don't know what I'm expecting to learn, what you want
So
to teach, but
what you'll find with me, um, as you may have noticed from the things you've seen me do, uh, it will seem a bit strange. But if you uh, listen and do what must be done, I think you'll see the value. Um, I'll be right back. And
Sure.
I'm going to go up to my room and take out the journal that I bought for him that was
Mm,
embossed with that symbol.
okay. What was the symbol again?
It's kind of my custom. I drew it. I'm going to drop it in the chat because why not?
Okay.
That's the wrong button. Where is the? There we go. Lore journal symbol. That's a very crappy version of it, but
Mm, okay.
so like that's what is on my journal, and that's what I had embossed on his.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So
Um,
then I'm gonna
when
walk
you
back. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so when you get back, he's not sitting in the chair. You see that he's kind of again, he's like kind of like nervously like rubbing his hands together a little bit, but he's kind of exploring the breeze home a little bit. He's not like going through any closed doors or anything like that, but like looking at the bookshelf and at the mantle and stuff like that.
Uh, I'm just while still just kind of holding the journal myself. I'll say so. I've never taught anyone, and I'm fairly new to this power myself, to be honest. So I ask for your patience as we start out. But I can promise you power beyond your expectations if you stick to the plan. What you must know first is that 25 years ago, my entire life was taken from me, everything that made me who I was. And I spent most of those years seeking vengeance for those I lost and for the loss of the way things were. And then I found this journal that I hold at my own. And I put the past behind me, all my weakness and ignorance, and I moved beyond petty vengeance. I've found a new path, and yours starts now. And I hand him the journal that I bought for him.
Go ahead and make an insight check for me.
Okay. It's 13.
Okay. You you see his eyes kind of light up at you saying that like his journey starts now, as you start to kind of give him some information about your past because he doesn't really know anything about you. And he pretty excitedly takes the notebook from you. He says, so what do we do now?
Well, this is your first step, as it was for me. And it will seem, again, silly or strange, but write in it your feelings on the things that are holding you back and what you wish to achieve. And before long, the purpose of this should be clear.
I'm going to write that down because I'm going to try to write down some things for him.
I got to work on the voice because, boy, I haven't done this in a year.
It's much more Timo Shatton than it used to be.
Yep.
But it's still in the right lane. You want to write down his feelings on what is holding him back.
And what he wishes to achieve.
Okay. He said, do I stay at the college? Like, is this going to be like an adjunct to my schooling? Is this a
Yes,
completely new thing?
I'm not asking you to uproot your life. I'm just helping you open doors for yourself.
Thank you. I'll get started on that right away. He looks around. He goes, do you live here by yourself?
Not always.
He like kind of rubs his fingers together after touching the mantle. He goes, I noticed that no one's really like keeping this place up. The stock room is pretty empty. The place is dusty. That one room over there smells like as many wet animals as I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I can repay you for like. I don't know why you've taken an interest in me or what I can do to repay you, but like maybe I could. I could stay on at the house and take care of the place when I have free time from the college. That way I can learn more from you and maybe repay you in some small way. I wouldn't need like much, maybe a silver or two a week if that was okay, and I'll do all the shopping and stuff like that for you guys and I'll just get like reimbursed or whatever. And
I'll have to bring that up with my friends.
is it painful for you to say that word? I'm confused. Okay. No,
Okay.
that was DM having a laugh. Says okay. Yeah, sure. No pressure or anything. I just thought maybe
Just,
while you were gone, I saw it maybe as an opportunity to, I guess I'd repay you in some small way.
I think the opportunities to repay me will present themselves.
Sure. Okay. Should I go? Do you want me? Are we gonna like keep talking? Like I don't.
No,
What happens now?
unless you want to have a drink, but I don't want you to. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. When should I come back?
When you have something new to share.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Oh, Derek.
Yeah.
This is just us, yes?
What do you mean?
People at the college might not understand.
Oh, right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Just us.
Very good.
Okay. He holds up the journal. Thanks again. And I'll see myself out. He grabs the cloak and leaves.
All right.
All right. with all of that stuff kind of done and out of the way, is there anything that come up that any of you guys want to do individually, together, as a whole group, anything like that? Any conversations you guys want to have? One thing that this party does do fairly well is like you work together well, but you're also very individualistic. So oftentimes in downtime, you guys have been pretty much on your own, except for a period of time where like, there's been some trainings and things like that. But other than that, you guys have been pretty doing your own stuff.
I'd like to have one conversation with Vendi that I can think of.
All right, where's it at?
Just in the breeze home, just when we're
Cool.
together.
I think
we're both here.
I think
Having
this is
dinner.
one where Vendi might have come in unusually late. Like there's a project that just took way more time than he budgeted. And he's coming in and there's like just a crap ton of dirt just caked onto his clothes as he comes in.
Quite a bit to governing, isn't there?
You know, they kept on telling me it was a shitty job, but we had to figure out how we were going to expand the pig pens, and this is the most I felt that literally.
You've taken to it well, although getting your hands perhaps too involved in things too small for you.
I mean, to be fair, this is the easy part. We need to instill confidence that we can actually do this, that we can bind together, and that means doing the small things and showing to the people that we actually care about their success. We're not looking towards I'm not looking towards how do we protect ourselves. I'm not looking at what's the big looming threat that's going to destroy us all like we just dealt with a few months ago. This is how do I make sure I have enough to eat tomorrow? This is how do I make sure someone's not going to come in and say, this is my house now. Yeah, it seems small to us, but we're the weird ones here.
Fair enough. So I've had a thought. There are probably many people displaced by all of this chaos.
Yep.
And I think that you might be able to help. We might be able to help give them a place of their own in that abandoned city we found.
I mean, the infrastructure is pretty much built.
We just need a road.
Yeah. It'd be one hell of a task to ask Stock's brigade to help out with, but
In terms of defending the builders,
defending the builders, getting enough to build an outpost, reinstall the infrastructure. I mean, the one thing that scares me is we found nobody in that town. I think we can do it, but
gives me room to provide enticing property to people in exchange for the road and just inhabiting it.
yeah. I like the idea. What gives me pause here is I don't exactly know the order of events to make it so it's a living town again.
Yes,
And
that's why I've been having that thought as well, which is why I thought you might
look,
have some thoughts with how you've gotten involved in such matters.
I mean, for me, this is easy because we already have a military. We already have a defense network. I never had to deal with that. We had a fractured infrastructure, but something to build off of. This is something from scratch. But if people are that desperate, I don't think they'll worry about it too much, as long as we make it seem like it's not certain death.
Hmm.
I don't know. Let's,
A good thought.
because what if we tried finding some of our adventuring apprentices who seem to have some aptitude, and let them help guard the road as it gets built. Let them see
Or,
what's going on.
and they could train some of the
Mm-hmm.
refugees, as it were.
Yeah, and there'll be enough to at least defend a small area. Then when they finally see the town, let's listen to them to see what they need to make it vibrant again.
Hmm.
I think it's going to solve a lot of problems. It's just how do we get there?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll pitch it to the council if that's what you want. I'm sure we can get it done. And who knows, maybe they might be able to give us solutions to our problems as well.
Very good. Well, this was productive. And I just walk out.
Oh. Oh. All right. I head out the door into the outhouse so I can shower.
Right. Um, anything else?
I am having drunk, rambling conversations with Master Tensho about franchising.
Okay.
That's all I've got at the moment.
Sure. Okay.
Vendy finds out that we're not replacing the towels, or they're in like a new location thanks to all the
Oh.
cleanups.
Then the next morning, when we are hopefully all at breakfast or something, I'll bring up. So there's one of the members of the college who we ran into with the rebels. Eric, I don't know if you remember him, but I've had a few
Nope.
conversations with him. He's a good kid. He basically.
Yeah, Vendi, you don't know this kid.
Yep. All I know is he's a good kid by Xandalore, which is moderate praise.
But he's I guess looking for a small time job. He offered to sort of keep the house, as it were. Is that something that you would you want someone in here doing that? I'd cover
Fuck, I
the
think
cost.
he's
It's not-
talking to
it's-
you.
It's pittance.
I think he's talking to both of us.
I am talking to both of you.
Oh. I mean, as long as it's not Amalu, I'm cool.
Stays are out of my spaces, and we'll call it even.
Hold on. Is he Amalu?
I don't know what that is.
All right, that's good enough for me.
I believe he's referring to Olamal Moonweaver.
I would never invite him in unless I had a plan.
Okay, cool. Then as long as it's not Moonweaver, I'm good.
Good.
All right. Can I get the three of you to make perception checks for me?
No,
Sure.
because no, never mind. I am halfway decent at this. 18. 13 plus 5.
I have a 13.
14.
Okay. 14. Okay. So Stock, just from traveling around, Zanalor from, I mean, like Fletcher's Point isn't like a super popular area, but like you definitely get an opportunity to people watch and see the town a bit from there, at least, part of Protectors Enclave in Blue Lake District. And Vendi, you notice it because of being the feet on the street.
Mhm.
But you guys all notice something. It starts out small enough. The occasional fresh missing persons poster, intermittent boarded up or abandoned houses. Vendi, you notice that one specifically. The streets start to just feel tense and a little emptier than usual. You notice people walking in clusters rather than doing some of their business solo, mothers clutching their babes. Uh, and then things begin to progress a bit. Rumors cropping up, starting out as whispers and turning into full-blown hushed conversations on street corners and in alleyways. Not only have people around the region been manifesting these strange tattoos, the dragon marks that you guys have all manifested, if you'll remember from a year ago, I guess. But individuals referred to as hunters have been rounding them up and taking them from their homes, ripping apart families, and carting people off to some unknown location.
I'm assuming this has been made a top of conversation at council meetings.
It has.
Um,
Um, there have been a lot of accusations to various members of the Winter's Haven Advisory Board about like who is hunters and things like that, and like 90% of these things wind up being like it's just somebody who's like doesn't trust their neighbor. A lot of the leads have wound up being kind of dead. But yeah, it has come up at the advisory board.
my other question is, do we know how many members of the advisory board have these marks?
That is a good question and not something that I had considered. I will.
Because
I
I
would
didn't know if it
suggest
was like
maybe not
just
everybody. If people are hunting them, they might not want to have them openly displayed.
Yeah. So just to let me
because that's exactly what like Vendi I think was thinking is, hey, as this is coming through, um, if I'm still trying to go about town, I'm going to make sure that the dragon mark is not visible.
Yeah. So I'm going to just kind of recap that a little bit. I totally forgot like that was an important thing. So the three of you all have these dragon marks. They manifested over the course of a 10-day. Um, uh, you started to develop a very persistent itch. Stock, yours was on the right side of your face. It would get so bad sometimes that you'd have to excuse yourself to remove your helm to address the issue. Vendi, your itch is on the left side of your neck. Zanalor, yours is on your right forearm. The spot where your incessant itch originates begins to darken over the course of the 10 days. Stock, you notice that your fur is actually changing color. And strange shapes begin to appear in that spot as well. By the end of the 10-day, your mark had fully manifested. Shades of purple and blue kind of together. They shimmer very slightly in certain lighting, except for you, Stock. Yours is Vanta black. Yours is the deepest black. It's so black that it appears to absorb the light instead of reflecting, resulting in a strange phenomena that isn't dull, but still the opposite of shiny. During the days preceding the end of your 10-day, where your mark is manifesting, and a couple of days immediately following, you guys did all start to notice people out in the public also like scratching vigorously. It's not everybody, but yeah, certain people every once in a while, like get the crackhead itch on their neck or whatever. Or you notice that people out in the public, they have some of the same markings as you guys, and I'll go. So Stock, like I said, yours is on your face. It's a normal shape and size, but is incredibly black, and it is crossed swords. Wait, no, that's not right. No, I don't remember what it looks like. Give me a minute for that.
No hurry.
I think I might have given you guys. I think the thing I'm looking at is in your journals, but I don't have images of like everybody's dragon mark essentially.
I know what the mark is, but I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah. Like I said, Vendi, yours is on your neck.
Yeah, I know what mine looks like.
Yeah. And Xanalor, yours is on your forearm, and you notice that like when random people pass you, you get a tingle on your mark. It like tingles. And like you've seen some people who have the same one. So you notice that whenever there's someone around you who has the same mark, yours tingles. So you guys, you saw some people with strange markings, the shape or similar as same strange markings, the same or similar as your own. Some people you notice rather conspicuously covering up parts of their body in an effort, you assume, to cover their own marks. So yeah, it's definitely something that like some people are like, oh hey, cool, check out this free tattoo I got, and other people are like, like wearing turtlenecks and taking great pains to make sure their sleeves are long enough and stuff like that. I would imagine, Vendi, that you would know there would be some people on the council who would have revealed that they have these things. But I also imagine that there's some people who maybe do have one and would have never said anything.
I would have imagined that at least one or two of them would have shown the mark in that 10-day as it was like, oh, I got this like weird rash because we didn't know what it fully was.
Right.
And then when it turned out to not be immediately dangerous,
Mhm.
they allowed it to be seen, but now that there's a sort of risk, I think now they're trying to hide it.
Yeah.
So we may know, but I don't think that the public at large necessarily knows yet.
Right. And yeah, so like you know the Winter's Haven Advisory Board fairly well. You definitely know that there are members of the council who would be like, oh, hey, check this out. And
Yep.
there are members of the council who would have shown that they had one of these dragon marks and would be hiding it after the news about the hunters started coming out.
Mhm.
And you also know that there are, because of just their personalities, there are almost definitely one or two people on the council who have these marks who have never shown it
Yep.
and will never admit to having one.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, with this knowledge, I think I'd like to get Stock and Xanalor in the
Mhm.
same room together.
Okay.
And just kind of go and say, guys, I think the census is showing a problem. We had people missing, and now we have even more missing based off of checks from the different boroughs. Have you heard any rumors about hunters finding people who've been marked?
Yes, I've overheard some of those stories. Certainly.
A few of
But
the adventurers I employ have come across wayward souls on the road harassing people about marks and so forth, yes.
look, I don't know if there's something to this right now. I don't know if people are just trying to leave the town and feel like they might be better off on their own. Um, but this is something that I think we need to find truth to these rumors. And I'm going to suggest something that you might think brazen and foolish, but I don't have any other ideas right now, and that's let it be known that I have a mark. We're going to put me out somewhere in order to find out if these hunters really exist. Well, you guys are a safe distance away. Let me get captured and we can find out where they're taking these people.
So you
Just to interrupt really quick, sorry. As just a point of order, I should have asked this before you guys started your meeting, but so obviously, Stock, you wear your helmet, so you're already hiding your mark. What about you, Xanalor? Yours is on your forearm.
I
Do you
am
imagine
full
that you?
sleeves all the time, baby.
Okay. I forgot that you were the most emo boy. Vendi, what about you? Over the course of the entire thing.
Vendi has, I think, had to wear scarves, especially like in the early chapters when he had like the fake beard, and whatnot. He may selectively re-employ that, or having like scarves or something with like a high collar in order to hide it.
Okay, so you've been hiding yours as well.
Uh, for the time being, mostly because it was already in his existing clothing line. He didn't have to go out and get something new.
Right.
But as soon as it was like there was tension to this, I think this is when it was like, okay, like my job is to help people. I don't need this to get in the way of doing that job. So it'd be one of those where like I'll expose it myself. I'll make myself the target, but I just need to know that we'll be able to find out where these people are going. We can find out what's happening and do what we can to bring them home.
So, all of the stories you've heard have been people are being taken. What happens if it's not being taken? What if they just execute?
That's why I was hoping you guys can loosely follow. I think you guys are pretty much the only people I can fully trust right now. People who if they're going to use me will at least tell me up front that they're using me.
So, if you get captured, how are you going to continue your work of building this better incorporated world?
How many people don't live to see what they've built come to fruition, dude? I'll just be another person in public record. And then another person moved to the deceased part of public records.
So at this point, I think with our proximity to the events that have happened, it's fair to assume that we all have one of these marks. That being said, wouldn't it make more sense to have somebody less in the public limelight get captured due to the simple fact of publicity causes issues for these kinds of operations?
What if we just find someone in the streets who is not careful about that?
We're
Somebody
gonna.
who's openly displaying their mark.
Can we
and
talk
follow
about the
that.
ethics of all this? We're going to let
We
somebody
would be
get
there.
captured.
We would be there to protect them.
I'm sure somebody else in my guild has one, and I'll offer them hazard pay. Problem solved. They'll do it.
If we're not there, they'd be taken anyway.
I just want to show how much I hate that particular idea because it's a different one because somebody who knows the risks as best as we can know them and is willing versus some random schmuck.
But if these rumors are about the town, if somebody is openly displaying their mark without fear, they know what might happen. Yes?
Xanalor, can you make an intelligence check for me?
Okay.
We're making a lot of assumptions as to what they know and believe.
Intelligence. 6.
Okay. You so as you bring up people like sort of like brazenly displaying their dragon marks, you kind of remember as you've seen it lately, at least, and like you're not sure because Stock and Vendi are on the streets a little bit more than you. You haven't really seen anyone brazenly doing much of anything right now.
Sure.
I mean, Stock, to be fair, if they are informed and freely give their consent to being a part of this mission,
What about someone who's maybe, you know, a low-life criminal making things difficult for you, and I just make it seem like they have a mark?
excuse me?
So we're gonna take a death row inmate, let him get captured by a shady organization, and hope he's not a psychopath, and takes over
And
the
also
organization.
hope they're willing to work alongside us for the reasons we list out.
Oh, they won't know.
Yeah, we'll put that on also considered, but right now I think Stock's got the one that's more persuasive if it's not going to be me personally.
I say we put out a flyer at the guild, see who takes the bait, and I'm sure one of them is willing for hazard pay, especially to work with our group. It's a good amount of clout for them, so somebody's bound to fall in.
I would also like right of refusal as the person we pick.
That's fine with me. More than one's bound to turn up.
I just as a quick question too, Vendi, does have so you said that you would have started covering it once tensions rose. Does anyone know? Have you told anyone, including the party, that you have this dragon mark?
I think the party definitely knows. I think individuals who are inside the Breeze home and inside the guild know. Simply because that'd be would be times where he would change his clothes.
Anyone on the board?
I don't fully know, and I'm going to let you decide that.
Okay. How about you, Stock? Yours is always hidden. Have you told anyone about it?
I would have told the party members about it.
Okay. What about
And-
Master Tensho?
I would have told him in confidence and made that expressly clear.
Well, sure. Obviously, anytime you remove your armor in front of Master Tensho is it's basically a given.
Yeah.
Should I even bother asking, Xanamar?
Of course not. They never
Okay.
see me in anything but my full regalia.
Sure.
Oh, in your My Chemical Romance Welcome to the Black Parade attire.
It's not like that. It's just black leather armor with gold embroidery.
And
That
white
covers-
stripes right down
covers
here, so
my
it looks like you're in a
entire
marching
body
band.
above the
And
finger
it's double-breasted on the front.
Yeah. When Zan was a young boy.
Okay. So is that what you guys are doing? You guys are putting up basically a flyer or a job posting within Stockton Adventuring Guild?
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Because it allows us to be kind of like secretive about how we're choosing this person instead of letting it become public knowledge by just putting it into the streets. It's literally just on like the job board of the adventuring hall.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
basically just saying, job opportunity posted by, Stockinio and whatever, our compatriots be, whatever we're calling ourselves at that given moment. See Master Quino or any of the other, members for information, and we'll move from there.
Um,
I just, yeah. What were you gonna do, Corey?
I was just gonna essentially advance time. If there was anything else you wanted to say or do, Xanamar, please.
No, we haven't done in a while. Gone for a drink.
You maybe not. I drink every night.
No. I think he means together, the three of us.
Mm. I can
That's
manage.
what you meant, Xenolor, yes?
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, The only times I've ever seen you, Xanalor, over the past few weeks is when you've needed something from me.
Suppose that's true.
I've only
Although
seen you going out
been-
when I come home at night.
You've been quite busy yourself.
Yep. So, where do we want to go?
The usual.
To the guild
Okay.
hall. Free booze.
So yeah, your options are the Winged Wyvern, the Driftwood Tavern, the Guild Hall, and also two. You may need to remind me, Xanalor, what the name of the
Fancy place,
tavern. What's that?
the Winking Whale.
The Winking Whale, right? In Blue Lake District.
Well, your idea, your call.
Somewhere more for the common people.
The Driftwood?
Very well.
Oh, you're paying for this, right? I'm just kidding.
Bar fight.
All right, so you guys, this was like in the morning that you guys. Oh no. That's right. Vendi, you said that you wanted to get people together like in a room, get everyone in the same room. Where do you guys imagine that this meeting would have occurred?
This one I think would have been the guild hall would have to be it. So that way we can get into like Stock's like armory, where I'm assuming it's only him and the quartermaster that are allowed in there. And then Stock told the quartermaster to GTFO.
To be fair, Stock has and probably often exercises the power to clear the entire guild hall out whenever he pleases.
Yes.
Um,
There's very much get the fuck out.
Yeah, so like Mike totally reskin it in the way, but as far as like how Vendi thought, this is how he can make sure it's a private conversation. That is his statistically most likely strategy.
At this point, with Master Kino being there and finding humor in the events that occurred in my past, I'm going to tell Master Kino to get everybody to get the fuck out because I want to see him beat everybody with sticks.
So, Biro and Baracus are both out on quests, and Anvinder is usually when he's not on quests for the guild is usually in like the dock district essentially. Like if you remember, his dream is to one day own his own ship. So he often hangs out at the docks just to see if anybody's selling anything. Especially with all the disappearances, he's been checking a little more regularly. So Master Tensho, you're Master Kino, by the way.
Yeah, you know what I meant.
Master Tensho, so Mishan, Kixpar, the Dragonborn fighter, Kalen and Frug are all at the tavern, and Master Tensho says, well, you all heard Master Kino. It's time to take a walk. And Frug goes, he's like, any excuse to get outside. And so he leaves, and Mishan also leaves because it's what Master Tensho bid. But Kalen is like busy working on basically like polishing, honing and polishing her battle axe. 'Cause she's a half elf barbarian. And she just kind of like looks at Master Tensho and like says, she goes, in a minute, old man, and like goes back to like sharpening and honing. And he walks up to her with both hands in his his big sleeves tucked up crossed across his chest, and he goes, now, Kalen, I hope you haven't forgotten that when Master Kino or myself says to do something, that it's not a suggestion, but an order. You are a member of this guild, after all, and we are your guild masters. and she says, "Look, I'm gonna leave. Just I've got like a 1 minute left. I just a couple more." And he like it just like pulls out really quick. You hear like a it's almost like a quick like a snapping noise how quickly it comes out. But you hear the like whetstone and stuff like scatter across the floor, and you hear like the scraping of wood and stuff as Kaylin stands up really quick with her battle axe and just her left hand like in the face of Master Tensho. And Master Tensho just sits there, arms crossed, standing in front of her, kind of looking up at her a bit. Doesn't say a word. And eventually she realizes that her intimidation is for naught, and she turns in a huff and leaves the tavern. And Master Tensho looks at you and he goes, "I too am going to take a walk," and walks out.
Have fun.
But yeah, so then your guys' meeting transpires, and you guys decide to head over to the Driftwood Tavern. And so you guys get to the Driftwood Tavern, and it's very rowdy, especially in contrast to Stocks Guild Hall, which can be busy but rarely is rowdy during the daytime hours. You get to the Driftwood Tavern, and um, from what you guys know just about being in town for as long as you have now, the Driftwood Tavern is essentially a 24-hour bar, because it's the bar of the docks. So literally, like whenever you get in, you go to the Driftwood. So it's almost always busy, almost always loud, and almost always cheap. There is no one really notices who comes and goes from the Driftwood Tavern. It's a great place to blend in at, because like there is, you know, there's prostitutes, there's guys dealing various substances, and also just the tavern itself operating in normal perpetuity of a tavern.
You had
Uh,
to add a magical meth dealer into our game, didn't you?
yeah, I mean, why would you think it wouldn't exist? People need a reprieve from the BS that is the fallout of the Arcanicalism.
It's blue colored
Yeah,
crystals,
mystical
isn't it?
science. Yeah, Archmage White.
But yeah, so you guys are at the Driftwood Tavern. Is there anything you want to do specifically, or is it just spending some time together? Or did Zanlor, did you call this meeting with a purpose in mind?
He's
He
kidnapping
did call the
somebody,
second
isn't he?
meeting.
I
He's
I
kidnapping
want
somebody.
no, I want to keep an eye out amongst the people, if there are like if there are people here who look like they aren't really here for the
Magical meth.
normal reasons, who are maybe
Okay.
just kind of keeping an eye out,
Mhm.
and also for people who are like noticeably itching the same spot over and over.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Jeez, terrible. 7.
Hey, have you tried
Um,
moving your eye patch to the other eye?
Quieter.
um, so you look around. You spend some time at it too.
Yeah.
But you almost dizzy yourself with the effort, because there are so many people coming and going. There are a bunch of people who come in and they like appear to be just like watching, but then suddenly like someone will come in and sit down with them, and then you'll realize that like they were just waiting for someone, or they were waiting to catch the attention of one of the barmaids or whatever. And no one appears to be like, at least from what you can tell, no one appears to be like measuring the room the same way you
Right.
are, or trying to.
I want to like let us have a bit of some time just hanging out
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
And then after a little while of that, I just want to lean in. This seems like an ideal place to just sneak someone out, yes? People coming and going, too many people milling about to really follow what's happening individually.
Well, our resident townsman would know more of the underground dealings here, but I would assume the docks are a haven for ill-gotten gains and those of ill repute.
I mean, it makes all sorts of sense. We're in a room where it's hard to keep an active head count, and it'd be really easy to get them out of town, assuming you had a boat.
So I suppose if they were hunting here, it would suggest they'd be shipped out. Yes?
I mean, if we're going based off of the smallest leaps of logic, if I was the one doing this, it makes sense. It has the least amount of chances to get caught.
That or impersonating a towns guard and pretending somebody's a drunkard and arresting them, and then using that as a guise to ferry them out of town.
I mean, I'm sure there's multiple avenues. We're not missing this many people because of one thing done repeatedly.
Maybe it's Wizard White. I've heard rumors.
That's Archmage White. You got a promotion.
So I suppose I'm just saying, perhaps we're in a place where we should observe while we're here, not taking away from the plan we've laid.
Yeah, I think that makes it. I mean, any information is useful information right now. At that point, due to that sentence, I think Vendi is going to start getting clued into what Xanalor really brought us here to do. And he's going to start looking around to see if there are, because I don't want to do it the exact same way Xanalor did it. I think what Vendi would look for is things like bouncers, things like individuals of like authority in the area, and what specifically they're looking at, like people getting rowdy or people looking for targets. I think that's what Vendi's going to look for.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay. That's a natural 20 for a 25.
Okay. So you notice a lot, obviously, about the tavern. You notice that there's no bouncers. Like there's no person who is like maintaining like a secure perimeter. There's no one like standing by the door. There's no one standing by the bar. You do notice that there are like while you're looking, there is, because you rolled a natural 20. While you're looking, there is like a scuffle that breaks out. And what you notice is that someone bigger than the person who started the fight on that side just comes in and like sees his opportunity for a dick measuring contest. Like they've been out at sea for like months and months, and then they come back and it's like, if someone fights, I'm gonna fight that guy, and if someone else fights me, I'm gonna fight him too. You notice that the tavern, it almost seems to police itself in that way. There are a couple guys who like there's one fight like a fight breaks out. One guy beats the crap out of another guy. Someone else jumps in, and the bartender looks to like kind of he's a bigger looks like a human male, has like a scar on his face, and like a beard. He's definitely dressed like a sailor. You see the bartender, like you can't hear it, but you do see the bartender like say something to him, and then like give a nod towards the fight, and you see him stand up, walk over there, and just like cold cock the guy who's doing a fight, just like knocks him out, drags him outside, walks back in, and sits back down at his pint. You do also notice that there are a bunch of different kinds of people here. So like obviously there's you guys adventurers. You don't see anybody from Stock's guild, but you do see someone from the other guild, the guild who was giving out the call to action for The Grey Guard. You see a couple members of the Grey Guard, another adventuring guild, and they're carousing. Sailors are carousing. Whores are carousing. You see like people playing a card game carousing. There is mercenaries who come in and they come in, they drink, they leave. Some of them stay. It really is like a sort of a like as you look around, you're like, man, this place is rowdy. It's disgusting, but this is really like the best like example of like the melding pot that Winter's Haven wants to be at the same time, where everyone seems to be living in like this like relative harmony, where the only thing really being wasted are words and some beer.
I, at
All right.
some point, would like to go inquire to some of the more shadier looking sailors about if there were individuals wanting to move people, who would be my best bet to talk to. Heavily implying, a less than legal term of movement.
Make a perception check for me.
All right. What do I get for those? That is a 12.
12. Okay. Before we do this, Vendi, was there anything you wanted to do with the intel that you were given?
I think he just shared that this is kind of a um, whatever you try to start, you better be able to finish kind of establishment, and that there's not any formal security. Um, and kind of back it up like, yeah, this may be a spot that's targeted for abductions.
Um, so Stock, you see what looks to be like a table of it it looks like maybe there's like a mercenary and two sailors sitting at the table, and they appear to fit the bill for what it is that you're seeking to ask.
Okay. I'd like to approach them. I'll slide over 5 gold and pose my question to them of, if I needed to move people without drawing undue attention, who would be my best bet to pursue?
You see the three people at the table, they like kind of exchange looks with each other, and they go, it depends on what you're trying to move. I mean, you say it's people, but is it refugees? Is it folks on the lam? Is it human trafficking?
Let's just say if I had to pick one of those, number 3 would be my best option.
Hmm. Well, hang on, let me think for a second here. I thought I bought myself enough time, but I didn't.
I can always make a persuasion check if that'll make your thinking process easier.
Um, so they look at you and they go, "This sounds an awful lot like a hunter question to me. I heard you lot just chase people down till they get too tired to run. What are you looking at shipping yards for?"
Well, sometimes people need to be moved without drawing too many undue eyes, and it is in their best interest that others do it for them.
All right, listen, mate. Uh, we're not too keen on this conversation you're trying to have with us, and we're gonna give you an opportunity to get moving. You can take your gold back if you want. except for this one. And the guy takes one off the top of the stack. Says, but listen, if I was you, mate, I don't know if I'd be asking them questions. Not here.
The city guard thanks you for your service. I put another gold back and walk away, leaving still 5 on the table.
Make a perception check for me real quick.
14.
14. You hear one of the guys leans in. He goes, "If that fucker's city guard, then I'm the fucking pope."
What's a pope?
I couldn't think of anything quick enough, so I just went with pope.
The High Priest of Bahamut.
Yeah, I'm not exactly. Thank you, Scott. Exactly. And he goes, "That guy's city guard. I'm a high priest of Bahamut."
I relay the information about them running people down versus shipping them in and out. That is the current rumor floating around on the docks. And that apparently most of the sailors don't seem to take too kindly here to human trafficking.
That's good. I suppose my theory wasn't as fruitful as I expected.
Well, we know that they tend to be more on the outskirts then if they prefer to run down their quarry versus shipping them through town.
Right. And it'd be hard to do that in the city without somebody seeing it. Right?
And if we assumed your statement is true, I think we'd have more than just rumor and hearsay right now.
Maybe people are afraid to say more than spreading rumors.
Where does that leave us then?
We can still, wait for a volunteer and enact your plan, or
That reminds me, Stock, would you have drafted that posting before you guys left the guild, or was that something you would have left to the next day or something?
I think he left the room.
He did.
What's up?
Either that or he polymorphed into a chair.
I didn't hear any of that. I am parental dutying. What do you need?
Okay. Would you have drafted that job posting and posted it in the hall before you guys went to the Driftwood Tavern, or is that something you would have done like the next day?
Now, we would have drafted it beforehand, discussed the subtleties of the language and, what's the best way to phrase this, etc., that keeps everybody happy while leaving it vague enough to pique interest.
Okay.
Dear adventurers, love exploring the unknown? Have survival skills to find your way back to town? Have we got a job for you?
That last part's real important.
Single
Okay.
adventurer needed to join the Trace Amigos.
Is there anything else you guys would like to do at the Driftwood Tavern or this evening before we move on to another time?
Not that I can think of.
My purpose
Invent
isn't great.
invent the old fashioned, but no, we can do that another time.
Okay. So the next day rolls around, and Stock, you still haven't heard anything about the job posting, and neither has Master Tensho. But after like the second or third day, you guys will have heard some things. Is there anything that you guys want to do before we get to that, like Standalers, or anything you wanted to do with Eric, anything like that?
I would just like to follow up with him that if he wants to once a week come by and clean the place while I'm there, like I'm not going to give him a key.
Okay.
I'll give him a few coins and yeah.
Okay. He says, how do you contact him, by the way?
That would be a stop by the college.
Okay. I was say because like last time you left it, it was basically come back when you've got
Yep.
when you
Yep.
finished your homework.
Yep.
Okay. And so he says it doesn't have to be much either. Like really, it doesn't even necessarily need to be anything. But yeah,
Well-
I'll come by. I'll clean. I'll run to the market and pick up some things to restock the stock room.
And I'm just I'm not looking for this to be any repayment of favor. Just you volunteered. You saw a need that we have, and I can pay you accordingly.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Dart out of the room.
Okay. So basically, so the third day after you posted the job posting, you walk into the guild hall, and right away, Mishan Quickspar walks up to you. She's a Dragonborn fighter again. She walks up to you and says, "There you are. Look, I've thought about it, and I've decided that I'm in for your job." And then, like, kind of overhearing this conversation, Master Tensho also makes his way over, and he says, "Oh, also, Kalen and Vindir both expressed interest as well."
Well, that being the case, let me gather up my other adventuring compatriots and yeah, and a second pumpkin. And we shall vet you all and see who is the best fit for the job. And with that, I'll send a runner to gather up the other two.
Okay. Xanalor at it's about 11 a.m. Where are you at?
I'm
Go to sleep.
gonna.
He doesn't sleep at all.
Yeah, I don't sleep at all. This time I am. Should have did my thing before I did that. I'm just kind of walking around in the Blue Lake District.
Okay. All right. So someone wearing Stocks Adventuring Guild's logo runs up to you and says, Master Xanalor, Master Kino wants you and Master Vershad to come. Master Councilman Master Vershad. Do you guys to come to the guild? There's been some. I don't know, he just wanted you to come to the guild. All right, I gotta go run and find Master Councilman.
You're good at what you do. I don't know how you found me.
He's like, I've been at it for 3 hours. And yeah, at about it's a little after high noon, Vendi, when a runner from the college, drenched in sweat, comes up to you and says, "Oh, Master Councilman Master Vershad,
Vendi is fine.
Vendi, okay. You recognize this as one of the apprentices that you sent like a week ago." And he's like, "That feels kind of weird." Master Kino.
No, say it again.
Vendi, Master Kino
Say it,
wants
but don't
you
be
to,
weird about it.
Vendi, Master
All
Kino
right,
wants
thank you.
you to come to the guild.
Was that hard?
Yes, I almost
All
threw
right,
up twice.
Then say it 10 times in a polished piece of steel until it doesn't feel weird, and then come back to me. What was the message again? I'm sorry. I was really committed to giving you a hard time, but I totally forgot to listen to it.
Master Kino would like you to come to the adventuring hall.
Okay, definitely do not call him by his first name. Me, okay. Him, not okay. He's stabby. I'm not so stabby.
Great. Okay, I'll see you there.
Hold on, your lesson's not over. What did you learn today?
He just and like turns a corner.
That guy has to have one hell of a cardiovascular system for all the running he does. Is his name Marathon?
There's Bucky. Okay, so as you guys collect in the adventuring hall, there is a there is a female dragonborn, a female half elf, and a human male who are kind of collected at a table in the tavern, or sorry, in the guild hall. With Stock just kind of like sitting at another table, like just glaring at them. And as you guys walk in, Mishan goes, "Finally!" And Master Kensho just like.
So I'm assuming these are the Inquirers?
You would be correct. I have a quiet room set aside for us where we can discuss the specifics of said quest with them one by one to vet them accordingly.
And Stock, you trust each of these?
About as far as I can throw them, and depending on the day, that's pretty far.
Wait, does that make it that you do trust them or you don't trust them?
Yes.
Because he can throw things far.
I trust him enough to
Mishan.
work for me.
Mishan goes, "So which one of us is first?" And Master Tensho again cracks her with the tonfa.
I feel like we should let you go first because I feel like this is going to be a repeated thing.
She just kind of gives a little bow.
All right, Miss Shan it is. Take her back to the room with the three of us.
Okay. So just to remind you of who Mishan is, she is a decisive dragonborn fighter from a cursed village who has no other family but the guild.
Oh. All right. So, before we start this, for the success of this mission, what's talked about in this room cannot be spoken outside of this room.
Understood.
Discretion is vital for the success to it, so understand that loose lips only endanger your guildmates, whether or not you're selected or not.
There's a weird way to finish that phrase, isn't it? Sink ships? That's what loose lips do?
Well, not everything has to rhyme.
Hmm.
If you say that again, I'll get a Tonfa too.
She just kind
I'm
of
just kidding.
like narrows her eyes at you a little bit, which no, never mind. It's quite the gesture from a dragonborn.
To which I immediately backtrack. It's like, no, I don't need to.
I'm telling you this once. You fuck us on this, and I will let Master Tensho have his way with you without giving him a reason to stop.
What? For clarity, I think he means that you're going to fight Master Tensho.
She just kind of like looks at you with like an eyebrow raised, like in that look of like, uh-huh. But like doesn't say anything because like obviously like, well, you're part of Master Kino's adventuring party, so you carry some level of clout, and also you're not from the guild, so maybe it's not obvious to you that it's exactly how shit works here. The only type of getting fucked is up.
Okay. Xanalor, would you like to explain the mission?
Would I?
Oh my god, you talk?
When needed.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, it's a little weird, isn't it?
Pro tip: if you want him to talk more, don't make it a big deal when he does talk.
Oh, yeah, shit.
You should see what's under that eye patch someday.
It's an
freaky.
eye. I heard that when he looks at you without the eye patch on, that a snake shoots out of his eye and bites you in the face.
You want? That's actually a pretty cool thing.
I just made it up right now. Like me as a DM. I'm going to make up a rumor about Stanilor's eye patch.
It's almost as awesome as a chest laser.
Laser, that's fucking ridiculous.
I imagine at this point you have heard the rumors about the hunters and the people with the marks.
Sure.
We are looking to draw them out and see what exactly they are doing and where they're taking these people.
Right.
And that is where you would come in. We need to bait the hook, as it.
Sure. Yeah. Me. 1 second here. I closed that window. Why? Why would I do that? Forgot a DM and how many freaking windows it means having open.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait until we get 8th level spells and you come down towards how much does a single ice cube melt fire things.
She like pulls up like her like leather glove, and you see on the back of her hand that she has a dragon mark, and she goes, "I was hoping that's what this was about."
So, would you be amenable to allowing yourself to be taken?
You mean I don't get to fight?
Eventually.
But not initially. Initially, you are the bait. We reveal that you have, not we, but you would reveal that you have a mark. And we would observe from a safe distance so that we could follow where they take you.
At the end of the day,
goal
we're essentially
here-
killing a
Only
behemoth.
Only if they were to attempt to take your life would you be fighting back.
Here's the deal. I'm not interested in finding a couple of hunters and then trying to negotiate and interrogate and persuade them to tell us where our countrymen, where our citizens are going. Speed is of the factor in how I want this solved. That means we aren't going to leave you fully alone, but there is going to be a certain portion where you just have to stay alive until we can find their base of operations.
She puts up her hand, kind of interrupting you. Look, I'm in.
Can I insight?
Sure.
Yeah, knowing Michonne, I'm pretty confident in her.
Right.
I don't really.
So with a 14, so you remember that that Stock has kind of like briefed you a little bit on like basically like as you guys were walking back to the room, like he was like, all right, so here's the deal with Mishan.
Yeah.
And so you knew going into it that this was going to be a very decisive person.
Okay.
She's not like being from what you can tell, she's not being intentionally brusque, but she is like, you can tell like she's already made up her mind. Like when
Okay.
you said that it was about like the dragon marks and the hunters, and she showed you the mark, she
She was
kind
like,
of
"I would
expects
be
you to just
down."
stop talking.
Okay. Cool.
Guys, Stock, Xanalor, brief sidebar.
Sure.
What do we do? Do I leave?
No, you could just stay there, but don't listen.
Okay.
I think we found our person. I don't think there's a point in getting the other two. I also think that only having one loose thread can make this a lot easier to keep information secretive. If you're fine with this selection, I think we can just stop here.
As the silence of deliberation kind of breaks over, you hear Mishan behind you like humming and singing a song in Draconic.
Stock, maybe you should ask her to wait in the other room.
Mishan, go outside.
Got it. She gets up and leaves.
What's Stock? What is basically the deal with the other two?
It was Kaylin, and I forget who the third was.
So Kalen is a motivated half-elf barbarian from the Dusty Mountains who likes to settle arguments with arm wrestling. And Anvinder is a quick-tempered human bard from the Sealed City who wants to one day own his own ship.
So I'd say the one with the quick temper is probably not the best choice because he might be inclined to.
Act on that temper.
Yeah.
Look, I think we found the one that may be worthwhile for us.
Well, with Mishan's history, there's not much that she would do to jeopardize the family that she sees as the guild. And, well, as you can see, if she's told to do something, she will comply to the best of her abilities up until the point of it becoming an immediate threat to life and limb. Then, well, all bets are off.
It works for me.
I mean, I got the answer that I need. Right now, it's either her or me as the bait, and I don't see a need to continue on in a frivolous matter when we've got a good enough solution in front of us.
All right, I'll tell Kaylin and Anvinder that they have been rewarded due to their massive abilities within the guild as having a special 5-week training class with Master Tencho.
Cool.
This place is very foreign to me.
Quick sidebar to sidebar. Xanalor,
Mm.
how does Tensho move?
You never see his feet touch the ground. It's crazy.
I mean, it looks like the arthritis should have made him into a human plank by now.
Perhaps it is a disguise.
Okay, first off, disguises are cheap and easily seen through. It just because you guys couldn't figure out I was wearing a fake beard.
No, but like a disguise like this, and I cast disguise self to look like Master Tencho.
I immediately tug at what should be the beard and go, "Oh, look at what's not here."
Did you tug his beard?
Yeah, he hit me with a tonfa.
He might be better than me at this.
What spell did you cast?
Disguise self.
Okay.
I'm assuming I'm walking out to reward the other ones, letting Mishan know that she's the one we're going with, and the other two get to spend some quality time with Master Tencho.
Kaylin seems pretty like kind of excited. I guess not excited, but like she's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. You know, obviously she everyone can tell the value of training with Master Tensho, but no one wants to get cracked with the tonfa across the hands.
Repeat.
And Anvinder, he like he's got his flagon in his hand, and as you as you as you say that and finish talking, he takes a drink. He like puts it down pretty hard on the table. He goes, "Well, great. I wasted an entire day, and now I got to spend 5 weeks with this jackass. Thanks."
From across the bar, a tonfa comes flying at his face.
Um,
They put a string on the end of that so it flies back into his hand faster?
No, it just seems like they fly. That's just him moving that fast.
How?
I don't know. Go ask him. You can spend 5 weeks with him if you want.
Maybe he's a different species, and he just looks like a old crickety man. Rickety.
he kind of he gives a bow to you, Vendi, because he's actually like relatively close by, not close enough to actually like have physically struck Anvinder, so you're still not sure how he did it, but he says, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, move with the silence of the whispers of the trees."
Next we
Mishan goes,
know, live, laugh, love is going to be on the walls here.
you hear Anvinder like groaning as he's walking away. um, but Stock, you as Master Tensho says that you actually like very much remember like the weeks and weeks of practice that came with that saying to like execute the thing that Master Tensho was talking about, and you remember it being that trait that gives you the ability to have like the surprise attack.
I
Like
just laughed at myself.
had he not said that 100 times a day over 10,000 hours of training, you probably would never have mastered that.
Just laughing to
um,
myself, knowing what
yeah.
they're in for.
Mishan, she goes, all right, what do we do now?
Well, I think in the morning.
I just go, well, we got to fix all of this as I motion towards her.
Another
Nose
time.
rise.
I think in the morning you have to make it be seen in public with the mark.
It's like takes her gloves off and puts them on the table. Okay.
Well, and you have to look relatively docile and vulnerable.
Yes. Wear just, the clothes of the meek.
She looks at Stock. So there's hazard paid for this, right?
Well, it said on the flyer. We put that on the flyer, right?
We did put that on a flyer.
All right.
So
She looks over at um Elaine, who's like kind of like what is walking in through the front door and like heading up towards the barracks, and she goes, "Hey, don't touch my shit." And she like she starts kind of like unfastening like her belt and stuff like that to get her. I mean, you've seen this before, Stock. This is how a warrior preps their kit to be stored in their locker.
And so I figure we'll get together in the morning and go spend some time out in some more desolate places and hopefully get you kidnapped.
Again, the idea is you don't hide the mark, but you keep your head down. You're a little nervous, a little itchy.
Do me a favor.
Vulnerable.
When you're walking a path, stay on the main roads of Basale's ward. Don't enter into alleyways unless you know you can see one of us in that alleyway. And if you're not on a main road, we need to have eyes on you in order to find out how to track you. If you get abducted, break branches, kick over rocks, make something that we'll know is obvious that's you, and we'll be there as fast as we can.
What type of dragonborn is she?
Kick ass.
I hadn't written it down. Um, with the, I don't know. I guess in my head I saw red.
Okay. You could use that to your advantage. I mean, people aren't unaware that dragonborns have a breath to them, so.
I thought you said I'm not supposed to fight.
Well, you gotta put on a good show. If you just give in and go, they're not gonna believe it.
Oh, so now I do get to fight, but with none of my weapons. Okay.
And
Very poorly.
yes, very poorly, like you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're just trying to
Like,
survive.
those kind of slapping things.
Ugh. All right.
Okay, fight like your Anvinder when he's having to fist fight. You know how he can't do shit when it comes to fist fighting?
Oh, yeah,
Fight like that.
got it. So where are we meeting in the morning?
Do we want to
We're
just?
not.
Well, we gotta.
We will meet, but I mean, just far enough apart to make eye contact, so that you know that we are with you as you go out.
Okay.
Start in the center square of the Basales Ward. As soon as you see one of us, just start taking the main roads. While we're trying to tag individuals who may be looking to identify you.
So
Okay.
first light be in Basale's ward, and we should already be there.
Got it. Okay. So with that, let's take a break. Let's do 10 or so minutes.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Woohoo! Oh, fun, fun, fun. Oh. I'm back.
Yo.
What's up?
Nothing much. Just waiting on Corey.
Pretty much. Which is okay.
All right, I'm back. I just had to do a quick little recharge.
Ooh, what are we recharging?
On my headset, I just got the low battery bleep right before the break.
Ah.
And then I got to find out how to make this work.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yes.
Have you tried downloading the app to your phone?
Yes.
There's an app?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lame.
It's called Nighthawk.
Yes.
And yeah, I've gone through all their instructions, but it still won't let me do the things that I want. So thankfully, I did not throw away the box because I may end up having to return this. Which is lame because the entire reason why I bought a router in the first place was because the Comcast modem that was supplied to me did not work with an Xbox 360 Slim.
I'm trying to figure out what could be wrong with it. Because normally it's just log into the app, do all the setup stuff they said, and you're good to go.
I mean, to be fair, I did start this at 3:30, and it got to like 3:45. I was like, this isn't done, so I just kind of like gave up and put back in the original stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm betting if I actually take my time and follow all the instructions with great attention to detail, I'll be just fine.
Yeah, that'd probably help. Gotta give us some credit for our plan, though. That seems to be pretty well hitting all of our wickets.
It's also super weird having wands on a modem now.
Antenna.
Mm-hmm. And 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have one that has 4. Well, that should just be a router, not a modem.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, nope, that's a modem. I don't know where that router's at. I don't know. I got all kinds of routers and modems and shit everywhere, so. Because I just keep upgrading my internet equipment. Now I'm into commercial grade stuff.
Yeah, it's also why you can download a 100 GB game in 3 minutes.
Yes. This is very true. So, and everything's, for the most part that I can, hardlined, including my Fire Stick. I hate
Yeah, I have to find
black.
out if I'm gonna take my old router to Carly's place because her Fire Stick only selectively works
Hmm.
with her internet, where like Netflix and Hulu and YouTube are fine, but HBO Go or HBO Max is whatever it's called now, and Disney Plus don't.
Hmm.
And she ends up having like start the episode using her phone's mobile hotspot, and then after like 2 minutes, she can switch on to her Wi-Fi and watch whatever she was watching.
It's really
That's
weird.
super weird.
Yeah, so I'm gonna like I'm what I'm thinking is that it's just like the way that Disney Plus forces the download and the fact that they don't do resolution scaling
Mm-hmm.
will end up making uh makes the issue. So um if that's the case, putting it in my old router should not improve things. It's just we need to like get her a stronger router and like upgrade from like a Wi-Fi 3 to a Wi-Fi 4.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because if it works, then we know if it does work better, we know it's just a communication error between the Fire Stick and the Wi-Fi. If it doesn't change anything, it's we have to just upgrade the robustness of your router.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Corey's back.
I
With
am.
the
Hi guys.
Mountain Dew,
Alright.
regular or zero?
0.
Sucker. It's delicious.
I haven't tried zero.
Mountain Dew Zero actually is quite good. Yeah, I would put it on par with like Diet Dr Pepper as far as tasting similar to the thing it's
I
trying
mean,
to be.
I feel like Coke Zero is a very good replicant as well.
I I wouldn't know. I'm not big enough on colas to have actually tried a full Coke Zero. Diet
I,
Wild Cherry Pepsi's not bad though.
Scott has a lot of thoughts on this.
We've talked about it,
Yeah, he doesn't like Diet Coke because it's basically new Coke.
which is halfway between Coke and Pepsi, which is why.
Yeah, which, hey man, let me make this clear for a second, like Pepsi. Um, yeah, that was it. I didn't really have anything else to say.
Mike, I'm confused. Are you streaming? You're not streaming to the NASA 5E Twitch. You're streaming to M. Jerosha.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Okay. We'll just
We'll fix it in
send me the
post.
file and I'll upload it.
Updo. Got it.
Not a big deal. Okay. I'm back. Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So I rolled a performance check for Mishan, and she rolled quite well. So you guys spend. How long are you wanting to spend on this? Like today, the whole
As
day?
long as it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So basically, from sun up to like beyond sundown, you guys tail Mishan as she very seamlessly, like if you weren't vaguely familiar or moderately familiar with the Dragonborn that you were tailing, you might lose her in the crowd. She was blending in very seamlessly, walking kind of like frightenedly, like in a tense way, like people do when they're walking around in Winter's Haven now. Um, you saw her do a very good job of bringing attention to her dragon mark by not bringing attention to her dragon mark. Like she would like stop in a shop and she would go to grab something and then like quick switch hands, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, and so I would like the three of you to make a perception check for me.
I roll
Finally, a
like
half
the
decent
hammer
roll.
dookie.
That's
Uh,
great because I rolled an 11. 6 plus 5.
16. 16, 1 6.
I
Okay.
got a
So
12.
16, 11, and 12. Okay. So, you guys are watching as best you can tell. It does not appear that anyone other than yourselves are at any point tailing Mishan. However, the day goes on. Night comes up. The streets really like empty. After a certain point, like we're like post supper, like really the only people who are out are people who are traveling to taverns or home from taverns right now. all the shops are closed and stuff like that. And Mishan basically like Mishan does whatever you guys would have marked as a like predetermined signal, like I can't keep doing this today, like I'm tired or whatever, like we need to break for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And so yeah, you guys she kind of makes her way out of Basail's ward and continues through Checker's ward, back through like the Protector's Enclave to the Adventuring Hall. You guys are a little more vigilant once she leaves Basail's ward to make sure that she's not being followed, because especially if someone's like tracking her, you don't want them to know that she's heading towards Stock's Adventuring Guild. So go ahead and make another perception check for me.
19, 14 plus 5.
18.
1.
Xanalor gets distracted. He thinks he might have found a new spot to hang out at, which isn't Fletcher's point.
I can
Um,
brood here so
Right,
well.
exactly. He finds some new brooding grounds. And Vendi and Stock, you guys, you're very positive that you and her are not being followed right now.
Okay.
So for all intents and purposes, it seems like it's at least not an immediate thing.
Okay. Make way back to the guild and inform her such that we're going to repeat again tomorrow. Make it a routine of what you do, so that way whoever it is who's picking people up can learn your routine and thus, find the best opportunity to grab you.
And I have a suggestion.
Mhm.
You should rent some sort of housing.
We'll take care of that.
In the sale ward.
Yes.
Okay. I think we should. I don't know. Should we like work out a system of signals? Like I really thought hard today while I was, while the streets were empty. What I should do to convey to you guys that like I am done today. I'm sure. I don't know if you guys feel it because you are. We'll call you high level adventurers compared to me. My legs are tired. Very
Here's what
tired.
you'll do.
You'll appear weaker. That's good.
Yeah. Here's your signal. Just go to a fruit stand or something, pick up a piece of fruit, and let it fumble out of your hand. That'll let us know that you can't carry on for the day.
Or really anything. I don't think it has to be fruit.
I guess if I'm staying in Basail's ward, do we need a signal for like when I'm done for the day? I would just go.
No, because
Oh.
one of us should, be staying nearby. Yes.
Yeah.
I look at Stock and Vendi.
You can
Would make
find
sense.
some good brooding spots.
We are trying to get them to work on our schedule. In reality, we need to be aware of theirs. So yeah, it makes sense that she's not fully alone.
Well, how about we set her up in a inn and we get a relatively adjacent room?
I was thinking more of a boarding house, and we can just keep an eye on entrances and exits.
That works
What
as
if
well.
what if it's just like,
if it-
a regular house and you guys put Xandalore on the roof? I hear he doesn't sleep.
Do I look like I'm made of money?
Well, it's also because he's 3 snakes in a trench coat.
Some rumors are true. Some are just rumors.
All right, we'll get a house rented and stick 3 snakes in a trench coat on the roof in the middle of the night.
What kind of snakes, though?
One's
That's the secret.
a cobra, one's an anaconda, and one's a gardener snake.
How long does this work?
But which one comes out of the eye patch?
Depends on how mad he is.
Yeah.
Like a roulette kind of thing. Got it.
Yep.
If it depends on if he's telling a joke or if he wants you dead.
Stock, do you want to use the
Um,
normal dead drop for the address of the building you guys rent? Is that going to be done tomorrow? Like how are you guys wanting to do that?
While we're there, he's thinking about that. I'm just gonna try to subtly cast minor illusion and have a snake just kind of like creep out from like the head just kind of creep out from under the eye patch and then slide back in.
Yeah, you see her brow furrow, but like her lips like peel back into a bit of a smile, like she's like she thinks it's funny and is a little nervous because like maybe you do shoot snakes out of your eyes. Vendy, go ahead and make an intelligence check for me, man.
I don't remember how smart I am. I think it's +2. It is +2. So that's a adjusted 20, 18 +2.
Okay, great. So you are pretty intimately aware of the of at least a number of shuttered up or abandoned homes in pretty much every ward, every district or ward. You've got an idea. So you actually, based on that check, you know of a place. It's a pretty small house, definitely like the family that lived there before was like very crammed in there. But like one person would live pretty comfortably, provided they don't have too much stuff. Um, so and that place was abandoned like about 10 day and a half ago. So like most people know that it's abandoned. So if someone was to like move in there, it would just seem like, the city's refreshing itself,
I can think of a couple of places that may fit the bill. Um, do me a favor. Tomorrow, bring enough to make it look like you're moving into a place. And I write down the address on a piece of paper, go, take it to this address. Don't get too comfy in there. It's just enough to make it look like you're going to be coming back from like and bring more stuff. But opposed to that's going to be the only difference between tomorrow and today.
All right. Any other business for the day, gentlemen?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go to Basail's ward
Uh-huh.
that night, and I'm just going to take a look around the place in question, so I know all entry and exit points. I will know where like windows are, how many floors, and then any sort of like hideaways. So like if we ever needed to hide a weapon of hers, where to hide it.
Okay. All right. So the place you have in mind, it's got it's a single story. The map is actually going to be a little bit bigger than what I described because I just like snagged something for like a house. I had a feeling that something like this might happen. This was initially for the Breeze home, but I wasn't pleased with it, so I'll find something else. But anyway, so it's got double doors for the front. That is the only ingress and egress from the building. There are windows all along the building, but like I said, there's only one
Actual
external door. Yeah. There is there's an outhouse out back also. I think that's what that is.
In the outhouse, knowing how those are constructed, how much is an individual dagger?
Oh, not much.
Probably like 5 copper pieces.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Can't be much. A silver?
Two gold pieces is the dagger.
Really?
What?
I'm going to
Yeah, I guess it's a dagger and like a knife.
yeah, I'm going to spend 4 gold pieces
Okay.
in order to get some daggers.
Okay.
And underneath, like, so like the actual seat for the like pot I'm going to post them on the underside of that top. So if it comes down, it's like, oh, you realize you're in danger, you need to go. It's like, oh, just go to the bathroom, grab the daggers, but
Okay.
it won't be like immediately visible.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to find something quick. I can't remember what the hell that place is called.
But I'm also down to 31 gold right now.
Okay.
What?
You did
Vendi
donate
made it a point.
115 of it.
Yeah, Vendi made it a point to like not collect a lot of gold. So you guys got bigger shares because Vendi didn't take.
Say, because I have quite a bit of money, which is of course not enough.
Why can't I find this?
And I think I did spend a significant amount on Sivo studded leather.
Yeah. I don't remember the name of the shop, but it's that the consignment store.
Mhm.
You actually wind up getting 3 daggers because you guys are like repeat customers who dropped a considerable amount of coin there.
Mhm.
And I send all of my guild people there.
Yes.
I do remember this now.
Minions.
So I'll put 2 in the outhouse, and then the third one, I'll make sure like there's like a cabinet that's facing like that's like hidden to like a main entry door, and I'll put that underneath the top.
Okay.
Just trying to make sure that they're not fully unarmed.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Because in this edition, druids are allowed to touch metal.
Alrighty. I'm going to. Is there any other business for the evening?
Nope.
Okay. Where are you guys retiring to for the evening? Just out of curiosity.
If our bait person is staying at the guild hall, not in this new place yet, I'm just gonna be at the breeze home.
And I'd turn up at the guild hall and later at the breeze home and complain about Eric cleaning my room.
I don't
The
think
weather.
Vendi.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think Vendi would head back to either of those places. I think he's a little frustrated that it didn't work on the first try, and
Sure.
he's pacing the sales ward, understanding like just trying to figure out what went wrong.
Mhm.
Fruitlessly, but he's trying to figure out what went wrong.
Make a perception check for me.
16.
So I mean, as you walk the ward, yeah, it's pretty fruitless. You know, you think about what it was either you or someone else said before about you know, we're trying to get them to fit to our time frame when we need to figure out what theirs is, and there might be something to that. You're not sure exactly what the key to that is yet. You you get the feeling though that you at some point have you get the feeling you're being watched. But as you continue to like pace the sales ward and like you kind of start to tune into that a little bit to see if you can figure out why. But you don't find anything.
Additionally, I just because of the way that this thematically would go, I think it's going to be a sleepless night, and I think I'll ultimately end up taking a level of exhaustion.
Okay, sure. Yeah, if you do in fact not go to sleep. Actually, tell you what, make a Constitution saving throw for me.
11.
Okay, and then with an 11, I would leave it to your choice. So if you want it to be a sleepless night, then it is
Yeah.
as such, and you gain a level of exhaustion.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
based off of everything that we've kind of established with how Evander priorities are as a politician, I think this one is cutting him pretty deep.
Sure. All right. By the way, Stock, Eric has only dusted your room. The wet animal spell persists.
But he cleaned it. He ruined my dust collection.
The pile of small animal bones that you like subconsciously create when, like a mouse goes through your room and you immediately murder it because, you're just kind of in there and this is just a bad time for the mouse.
It violated the
Untouched.
sanctity.
Untouched.
My pelts are still drying on the wall.
But dusted. Untouched. The pile of bones untouched but dusted. Okay. So I rolled Mishan's performance check for the day. You see her as she's coming into the sales ward and heading to the address. You were probably hoping for her to have a little bit more stuff with her, but she's carrying a stick and bindle with like a large woolen blanket under her other arm.
I just face palm at this.
Stock, make an intelligence check for me.
I rolled a 4.
A 4, okay. You're not positive, but like you think like maybe that is all of her stuff that isn't weapons.
Maybe we should have taken Anvinder. He might have been better at this acting stuff.
As she's moving through the city today, she's doing a good job of it, but there are times where she appears to be not quite as on top of the acting of it as she was yesterday. Like her movements seem almost like a little bit more confident today than they were yesterday. Not a ton, like if someone wasn't like watching her for 14 straight hours, you might not pick up on it. But as the day wears on, she goes to most of the same places that she went to the day before. But why don't the three of you make a history check?
Yikes.
17.
Okay. Xanilor, for what you can tell, she went through the same route today. Vendi, you know that she basically skipped a block during the daylight hours, and she stopped at a shop on that block the day before. She does go back that way, like in the evening, but it's like after the shop is closed. So, not a huge oversight, but, she didn't do it perfect. Yeah, so the day wears on, the evening hours begin, the streets empty out for a period of time while everyone, goes home or to the tavern for dinner, and then the streets fill up once more once the tavern is done with the rush and people are going to the tavern to drink, and then the streets are once again empty. And at that second emptying, you can tell that she has adjusted her trajectory to go back to the borrowed house.
Have we noticed anybody pursuing her this night?
Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
What are we missing?
A natural 20 for a total of 26.
Okay. The other guys?
Sorry, what am I rolling?
Stock said he wanted to make it.
I know,
can't
but
beat what he did no matter what.
It's true. But I just wanted to have you guys roll like we did, like I had you do for the previous day. Because you guys are watching for this. Yes, perception. Yeah.
16 again.
Okay.
13, 8 plus 5.
Okay. Stock, you are super sure. Xanilor, you are pretty sure.
I was at disadvantage. The 13 stands.
Okay. And Vendi, you're relatively sure. Less sure of the fact that she missed that block. But you guys are pretty sure she's not being followed still. You haven't noticed anybody appearing to like outside of like the odd like elderly individual who's literally sitting on their front porch watching the world go by, it doesn't. Oh, shit, my headphones are dying.
Man, it's good old
Oh,
senile
wait.
Jim Bob talking about whatever headphones are. Hmm. Uno momento, por favor.
Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop.
Processing.
Headphones on.
Headphones off. Low battery. Can't hear a word
Hey,
you're saying.
Stop.
turn on your microphone.
Talk again?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
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 Okay. Yeah. So my headset warned me that my battery was low, and then because of that, it stopped working.
Mm.
Didn't die, just wasn't working. Okay. So I missed what was said after I said that outside of the odd old person, there wasn't really anybody watching her.
Nobody said anything. I was just saying things like, boop boop and boop boop,
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Just general shit talking.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah. So it appears as though no one is watching her just yet.
All right. Take up position, hide for the night, and set up watches to keep an eye on the house.
Yeah. Walk me through how that
So,
looks a little bit there.
it's dark when we're starting to go back. Yes. Am I correct? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna show you guys what the house looks like, just so you know.
so when she starts to head back there, when she gets fairly close, like a
Mhm.
block away, I'm going to use my invisibility.
Okay.
Like I'm going to duck into an alley and then activate my invisibility.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to like get up on the roof because apparently that's the place I'm hiding.
I like how a peon has had an idea, and you're like, I guess that's what I'm doing.
Um,
Honestly, thinking about it, being up on the roof would probably be the best vantage point for all of us. So that way we could see anybody coming.
Right, so Xanalor is going invisible. Stock, you are also wanting to get up on the roof?
Yep.
Okay. Vendi, what are you doing for the evening? Are you staying here keeping watch? Are you how are you guys
No, I
doing this?
think I think I'm gonna be in the alleyway behind the house, going into my old like crazy old coot kind of routine.
Right, crazy old
Uh,
coot or trash panda sleeping in the trash? Because you've done both.
I have done both. Uh, a- Actually, with wild shape, I think I'd be able to kind of like do that. Um, yeah, I'll trash panda.
How long does your wild shape last? Out of curiosity, I don't remember.
It will last for 4 hours before I revert back to normal form.
Okay.
But also kind of dealing with the exhaustion again.
Mhm.
I think this will be like at a point where that ends. Vendi will realize he has to have some sleep in order to be useful.
Mhm.
But based off of like, he's not going to have enough food or drink in order to meet the criteria to clear the level of exhaustion. Because it's literally like, how much do I need to do to press on, as
Mhm.
opposed to how much do I need to do to get right.
Okay. So you'll maintain the single level exhaustion, but not add a second.
Correct.
So you're not taking a watch then tonight? Is that correct?
No, so still would be, as long as I could without incurring that second level exhaustion.
Okay. So that'd be a roughly 2 hour period.
Hmm.
Obviously Xanalor is taking all night, all watch, all time, because he doesn't sleep. But Stock and Vendi, how are you guys kind of situating yourself around that to try to, cover this time period?
It's super easy. I'm a trash panda. I just stay in the dark and go like this.
No, sorry, I meant more like what time period. So like if we break the night up into 8 hours, right? Xanalor's taking hour 1 to hour 8. You get 2 hours in there somewhere. Stock gets 2 hours in there somewhere.
I think I'd go the first 2 hours until like I know I can't press on any longer.
And then I'd take the third set.
Okay. All right. So you guys are. So I want Vendi and Xanalor to make stealth checks with advantage. Stocky, you're gonna make a straight one unless you have something that gives you advantage that I don't know about.
I have a +9 to it.
I have to do a flat roll because of my exhaustion, even though I have the Cloak of Elvenkind. That's 15.
Okay.
Let me see. It's been so long since I've looked at this shit.
11.
Okay.
And the roll 2/8.
Nope, I am just proficient in stealth, so. 19.
Okay. Stock, you hop up on the roof and skitter up to like the hearth, like the chimney for the hearth. Sit down against it and start taking your watch. Xanalor, you turn yourself invisible in a nearby alley and you go to get up on the roof. Your foot like slips on one of the shingles. It makes a small noise, but you look around and it doesn't look like anybody heard.
Okay.
It just wasn't perfect like Stock.
Yeah.
Vendi, you go to hop up into a trash can, and you see that there's another raccoon already sleeping in the trash can next to it. You like do your little trash panda circle and you lay down as you see, and like while you're doing that, you see the other panda like pick its head up and look at you, and then just like put its head back down and go to sleep.
The Trash Panda Wars.
As like literally like when like there's a dog who's asleep and the other dog comes over to sleep next to it, the dog who was asleep is like, "Who's that?" Okay, cool.
And this is how Vendi got himself stuck in a trash can.
Okay. So Vendi, Xanalor, perception checks for me.
4.
That's an 8, 3 plus 5, thanks to disadvantage.
You are finding like those primal instincts of the trash panda a little strong. It may just be because you're so tired and you're having a hard time like maintaining like the human mind inside, at least to the degree that you're used to. You don't see anybody, you see a couple humans come and pass. Sorry, not just that, I shouldn't say humans. You see a couple people come and go.
Humanoids.
Yeah,
Persons.
humanoids, persons. Some Winter's Haveners come and go. Xanalor, you don't see much of anything. You kind of get caught up in a like meditation thing almost, where you just like kind of you do that thing where like you're resting but you're not sleeping,
Yeah.
and like some of that is like breath work and stuff like that, and you just like, oh shit, oh okay, there's 2 hours already. All right, cool. Okay, so for the second rotation, then Xanalor, make a perception check for me.
Please be better. 1.
All right. You're just kind of like sitting there and you keep checking, you keep looking at Stock to see if he's like woken up for his shift yet, basically. He's like asleep against the chimney, like the warmth of the hearth is, kind of warmed the stones and made a nice resting spot for Stock. But yeah, you don't notice anything either. So for third shift, the two of you go ahead and make perception checks.
11.
14.
Okay. You guys look, you're watching Stock, you kind of you're carefully, pivoting around like the three sides of chimney to use it for cover and just like also get a 360-degree view essentially of the area around the house. Xanalor, you're positioned like kind of over here, like on the roof over here.
Okay.
So you can like see you can see a bunch of windows from that side. You can see if anybody like is trying to use the crapper as a ambush point or anything like that, and then you can also see if anybody's coming to the front door. But you don't notice anybody. No real movement. It's that point of night now where Winter's Haven is pretty well quiet. You can hear the odd animal, and you hear you guys actually hear off in the distance, like it seems like it's like a few wards over, like it's pretty far, so it's faint. But you guys are used to taking watch, used to keeping your ears peeled. You hear from a considerable distance away, it almost sounds like someone shouting, "No, no, 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 no!" And then you don't hear anything else.
That was
So
odd.
I wonder what that's about.
Must have been some bad beer. They must have had their asshole fall out. They crapped their pants. That's what it was.
I think Vendi, that alone would have perked Vendi awake. And
go ahead. Actually, can I have you make a perception check with disadvantage for me since you're asleep and also exhausted?
lower one is a natural 1.
Okay. Unfortunately, because of the exhaustion, you are Vendi, not a raccoon, but you are still asleep in the garbage.
With some raccoon marks when I transformed back and freaked out the other raccoon.
Now you and
Yeah,
the other raccoon are cuddled up, though.
The other garbage can has fallen over. Yours is still upright, so you're like kind of like weirdly bent over it, but like because you're Vendi and a druid and you've slept as a trash panda many a night, you are used to it and don't actually wake up with extra soreness because of this weird contortion. But yes, the other raccoon is like curled up on your stomach when you wake up. It did scratch you, but then it went to sleep on you.
You still smell of trash panda. You're okay.
Xanalor, can you go ahead and make a perception check for me for the final watch of the evening?
I rolled a natural 20.
Nice. Okay. So, especially after hearing what transpired during your watch with Stuck, you've been you've definitely snapped out of whatever it was that was keeping you from paying attention earlier. Maybe it's just the grind of all this stake outing, but so your ears are perked, your eyes are peeled, and you don't see anybody coming up to the house, and you also are able to keep what you believe to be a very good tack on the direction that sound came from, the person shouting. And you don't see anybody or any more noises coming from that area.
Okay.
Yeah, so sun comes up. You guys start to hear the sounds of rummaging in the house. And before you know it, you hear the front door latch click open, and then it shuts, and you hear it lock. And Miss Shan has hit the streets for the day. And I'm going to go ahead and roll her performance check for the day. Okay. Oh. All right. So for today, Miss Shan, she can have the three of you make a history check for me.
1.
Where is that on this stupid sheet?
15.
Wait, I think I have a plus. Nope, I don't. 1.
17.
Okay. Stock Vendi, you notice that she misses not just 1 but 2 of the stops today. But she does hit the one that she missed from yesterday. You can tell today, maybe she's just frustrated or whatever, but she's she's not doing the deft job she did of bringing attention to her dragon mark by not bringing attention to it. It's there's like she's like grabbing shit with that hand so that people see it. She's like almost lingering on things. She rolled an 8 for her performance check today, so not fantastic.
Like,
Um,
what is this?
Yeah, or
What's
you
that
know, like,
over
oh, look at this
there?
piece of fruit. Oh my God, it's so pretty.
We
Um,
should have gone with the bard.
I mean, let's be honest, they're not like high level adventurers. His bonus would have been, you know,
Not much.
maybe
left.
not
One more.
much. It probably maybe it wouldn't be just straight rolls like I'm doing with Mishan, but you know, maybe a +2. But yeah,
Which is the
so
minimum you'd need to be a bard.
right.
Sounds about right
Well
for my
then,
guild.
well, you know what, Mike? When I designed this, I never meant them to be more than just like goofy things, and now here we are, and now this person is doing a mission for you guys.
Yes.
Like, not just, oh, hey, we're gonna roll on the adventuring table. No, this is this is, oh, this person has a personality now.
This is a
Hey,
person,
hey,
damn it.
sorry you gave us a tool and we just decided to build a house with it.
No, I know, that's on me.
Yep.
Now I need to, like, I don't know, maybe like stat blocks with people or something. Beats me. But anyway. Go ahead and make perception checks for me for today for watching for anything abnormal.
Perception.
The lower one's an 11, so that becomes a 16.
I have a
I got a
16 also.
7.
7. Okay. Xanalor, you were kind of too busy caught up watching, like you were like, you know, like internally groaning and rolling your eyes when you'd see her like kind of overact this. Oh, look at my dragon mark thing, you know. You even see one of the ladies in the shop. She's like, cover that up. What are you, stupid? Vendi and Stock, you guys, you don't make note of anybody tailing her again. Do you have a Cthulhu on your head? What is going on there?
No, I have a toothless.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so you're fairly certain that you're keeping good eye on that. Like you're, you know, you guys are getting into a groove of how this works. But you're not sure if it's the area, if it just takes more time, if it's just not working. You're not positive. You feel like you're doing a pretty good job of what you need to be doing though. And although Mishan's acting as shit at times, she's doing what she was supposed to do. So again, you know, the day comes and goes. She stops at a bunch of shops. She talks to a few people. She's starting to kind of become like, some people are like starting to know her. She doesn't go by her name. She goes by Q-Rex, which is like kind of like a weird bastardization of her own last name, her own clan name. I mean, it's sorry, not Q-Rex, it's Q-Rex. And but like people in town like are starting to like know her, and so like go ahead, the three of you make an insight check for me.
Natural 1.
18, because 9 plus 9 for my lower.
Nice. Okay.
23.
23. Okay, Xanil or Vendi, you guys. So this wasn't like in a specific into a certain person insight, but you guys know that through interactions with people, that the more people that like know her like this and know her as a marked individual, odds are like someone is saying something to somebody about her being marked or about her not hiding her mark or something, right? Like it's actually getting a job done, in case you were like worrying that like, oh, this is stupid or something. You know what I mean? Like it's drawing indirect attention.
Yeah.
But you know, day turns into evening. The streets feel empty again with the coming and going of the dinner and then tavern crowd. And Shan ends up back at the house.
Before we wrap up this night,
Mhm.
I'm going to write a quick note and put it up on the ceiling of the outhouse.
Okay.
Um, that note's gonna write as start your next walk an hour before daybreak. Um, and then wild shape into, I don't know, something that can climb.
Um,
I don't know. I mean,
I
raccoons can climb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd go as a raccoon again and just kind of like put it like slide it in between two of the like the wall boards.
Okay. Okay. I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. Okay. Go ahead and make a performance check. I want to say, unless you can think of something more apropos.
What are we trying to do with this performance check?
I just want to see like how well you put it, so that way like it is not obvious to someone who might like be looking, checking in really quick, but would be obvious to someone who is living in the house and taking a shit.
I think this one would be more of like a survival because it's more like tracking and like communication, like discrete communication.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
If that's the case, my lower one is a 5 plus 9, which is a 14.
Okay. You skitter up. You place your little parchment in a crack that you find, and you hop back down on the lid of the crapper, then to the floor, and you nudge the door open. And before you do, you give a look over your little shoulder, and you go, "That looks all right." And you
Mhm.
walk out. Okay. So for the evening's watch, who's doing what where? Tell you what, I'm going to give you guys some tokens really quick.
okay. I am going to, when it's time to go in, I'm going to do that duck in an alley and go invisible again. But this
Okay.
time I'm going to get right behind Mishan as she goes in. So I'm going to go into the house with her, like as she's opening the door, so that nobody would see me like hold the door open.
Okay.
I think, especially with Vendi giving the order to change up when you start your day, he's gonna time his sleep schedule to be fully awake during that. Still maintaining the one level of exhaustion.
Okay.
Knowing nothing of what these two are doing, I'm doing exactly the same thing.
Give me 1 second.
So I think he'd be right
Where
there, so you
is
can at least see the outhouse.
that?
And be probably up there-ish.
Why don't I see that one? Search my own. I can't search the whole
Invisible.
library.
That's the problem.
It's because he's invisible.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm just like not reading my TV particularly well. Okay, you've got
Awesome.
controls, Zanlor.
Okay.
Okay, Zanlor, walk me through one more time what you're doing.
I'm turning invisible in an alley again.
Okay.
And then I want to like follow her into the house so
Okay.
that it's when she's entering, I'm entering.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
not weird. There's a door opening.
Stealth check with advantage for me.
That is 15.
15. Okay. Yeah, you think it looked pretty good.
Sweet.
You didn't even touch the door.
Nice.
Okay.
And then I'm going to hide under the bed.
That could get real
Okay.
awkward.
How long does your invisibility last?
1 hour.
1 hour. Stock, you are same spot, leaned against the hearth on the roof.
Yep.
Okay. And Vendi, what are you doing again?
He was gonna stay as a raccoon.
Okay.
And then keeping an eye on the outhouse to make sure that the message was received.
Um, so Miss Shannon, she comes in. She eats a little bit. It's basically like regular traveling rations. So like a piece of hardtack, some jerky, stuff like that. She's living lavish. Um, she gets up to hit the head. You see her go into the outhouse, Vendi, and you see her come out with a pretty defeated look on her face. Seems like she got the message. Um, you see her like as she walks out, she's like rubbing her thighs. Um, and so she goes back around the house and inside to head to bed for the evening. What is the watch order going to be tonight?
I'm taking third.
Third?
I'll
Okay.
be on third also because I haven't been told anything otherwise.
I like it. All
I'm
right.
all-
You are all of them, and you are under the bed. Okay, so for first watch, Xanalor, go ahead and roll a perception check. Straight.
5.
Okay. You hear snoring,
Perfect.
and you also hear, or you also smell a small amount of. It smells like lint burning. Seems like every once in a while, if she takes like too deep of a breath or whatever, she like a little bit of like a spark comes out and like burns off the lint of the woolen blanket or whatever. Um, but that's all that you really notice with that check. So second shift rolls around. Xanalor, once again, roll a perception check.
11.
Okay. This time you're able to kind of focus away from the sounds of the bedroom. You are visible again now, but you're still under the bed, and you don't notice anything
Um,
occurring outside of.
I
I mean,
I
basically, you can hear. You can kind of see like out the window a little bit, like you can see like up out the
Yep.
window.
Yeah. I am mostly relying on ears. You said last night I got a sense of the general direction that sound had
Yeah.
come from. So going to cast message
Okay.
to the dragon sleeping above me
Hmm.
and say, there was another abduction last night. I could hear it from your roof. It was coming from, and I'll tell her the general direction I heard it.
From what you could tell, it sounded like it was coming from the marble halls.
It sounded like it was coming from the far south of town, perhaps the Marble Halls. It was about an hour or so from now. Perhaps you should go for a walk.
Um, so you notice as you start to cast message, you hear the bed like shake really quick. uh, she recognizes the voice coming into her head finally, and she goes, "So you want me to take a walk? Vendi wants me to leave an hour earlier. All right, fine. I just want to sleep." So she gets up, like she puts her boots on. She's like, "My legs are fucking killing me." You just hear her like grumbling as she leaves. So you hear the latch open, the door open,
When she
shut,
does that,
latch clicks. Yeah.
I cast message pointing at first Stock and then Vendi to say she's on the move.
Okay. Make
I have to
a.
know where they are.
Can I make? I want to have you make a spell attack roll with disadvantage for me.
That's fine.
Oh, sorry. I'll have you make a spell attack roll straight for Stock, disadvantage for Vendi because you don't know where he was.
Stock's in the same spot as last night.
Right. You're guessing, but yeah, that's why you
I
get to
mean,
make it roll straight.
he is.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah. I'm with you. I rolled a 17 on the dice for Stock.
Okay.
And
Stock gets the
plus
message.
several.
And go, what the fuck is going on?
Um, She's on the move. She's walking.
Why?
That's all you get
I-
from stock is
yep.
why.
Disadvantage for Vendi.
Disadvantage for Vendi, yeah.
With spell attack modifier, it is a 13.
A 13. Okay. So I was gonna set the DC at a 10, or a 12 at most. You beat both. So
The modifiers are 9.
okay, that's great. After all, this is your guys' stakeout. It was just a little tough because well, you don't talk to each other at all. So so Vendi, you actually get woken up. You're like, wait, it's not third shift yet. It's close, but it's not yet. And you hear Xanalor's voice in your head saying that she's on the move.
Well, LFG, boys.
And that's what you get from Vendi. Okay, so now that she's on the move, who is doing what?
I am going to try to slip out the back as
There's a window.
That's a window. Oh yeah, I'm going to try to slip out the front because it's the only door.
Okay. So you
Fire code.
Like I
you
give her
unlock
like 2 minutes lead.
Okay. You unlock the door and you walk out and you close it and you start following.
Yep.
Before you get too far though, Stock, what are you doing?
I would be climbing down from my perch and staying far enough away to keep her in eye shot, but not so close as to be readily perceived as being followed, and partially acting kind of inebriated.
Okay, Vendi.
Now that I've had the effects of a long rest, I realized at level 9 I can be a flying creature now. So I'm going to wild shape into a pigeon so I can like fly overhead.
Okay. I will. So this is the beginning of the fifth hour of the night. So you guys, those of you who do need to sleep, you've essentially got 2 hours to get this done. So you're turning into a bird, you said? A bat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A pigeon.
A pigeon. Got it. Okay. All right. So Stock, make a performance check for inebriation.
Okie dokie. 17.
17. You look pretty
Advantage
inebriated.
if you're actually drunk.
You look pretty inebriated. You've got experience. Stock and Xanalor, please make stealth checks for me.
I'm just a creepy guy in a hooded cloak.
16.
7.
7. Okay. Stock, you feel like not only are you looking pretty inebriated if someone was to see you, but like, damn, if you're not just kind of like. Xanalor, meanwhile, it's a little windier than you thought, and your cloak is like. And you're like, well, I can't leave it now. So you just like try to like hold it a little bit while you're walking. The three of you, please make a survival check for trying to follow her. Do any of you have dark vision?
I do.
Okay. So Stock and Xanalor, you're good. Vendi, I don't think pigeons have dark vision.
I don't think they do, but I get to keep all of my mental stats, which means I keep my survival. I rolled a natural 20 and a 12, so it's a 21.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
I got a 9.
Survival 13.
13. Okay. Xanalor, you. All right. Let me go. Vendi, you've got a lock on her. It's easier when you're up in the air.
And being a carrier pigeon.
Even when you're a blind pigeon. There are some streetlights and stuff. Like you lose track of her when she's between streetlights. But you do see her when she's in the lights and stuff. So you're able to keep track of her.
Mm-hmm.
Xanalor, you lose her. You get so caught up with no, not Xanalor. Stock, you lose her. You're like, oh man, look at this drunken acting. Oh man, look, I'm like from one building to the other. I am the shadows. You're like, oh shit, where'd she go? Shit. You can't even find Xanalor, and you have no idea that Vendi is a pigeon. Xanalor, meanwhile, you may not be being the quietest about it, but you are keeping your distance, and you're able to keep tabs on Mishan as she makes her way from the sales ward towards the marble halls.
Cool.
So now, I'm going to have. Okay. Mishan knows where she's going. She makes her way pretty easily from Basale's ward to the Marble Halls. She's heading towards that southeastern portion of the city. She's basically just going to do like a sweep of the Marble Halls, and see if she can see any activity, essentially. The three of you make a perception check. Stock with disadvantage because you've lost everyone.
Yes. 16.
The perception.
Natural 20 and a 16 for the other one.
The lower ends up being a 15. 10 plus 5.
Okay. Yours was a what, Xanilor?
16.
16. Okay. All right. Stock, despite being nowhere near anybody, you make your way to the Marble Halls and you wind up making a lap of the Marble Halls. You're familiar enough with the area to know like where you're going. Um, Vendi and Xanilor, you guys are able to keep tabs on Mishan as you follow her while keeping an eye on her back and where she's at as she does her sweep of the Marble Halls. And you guys don't hear anything tonight. After a period of time of going around the Marble Halls, you're kind of left just a little befuddled. You know, you're like, especially Xanilor and Vendi, with your guys' insight check from earlier, like I feel like we're doing the right things, but you're just not sure what gets you to the result at this point. But after about, I'm gonna say it took her about 45 minutes to get from Basale's ward to the Marble Halls, walking at like a normal pace. So it's an hour and a half of travel, and it takes her about an hour to go around the Marble Halls, like to go through the whole thing. So by the time she gets back to Basale's ward in the house, you can see the sky is starting to lighten. You guys are into like that 7th/8th hour of rest. What do you guys want to do?
I mean, I'm out of ideas right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to, take up the perch again, try to do that as subtly as I can for the rest of the, what's left of pre-morning.
So you're trying to get back up on the roof, Xanilor, or
Yeah.
go back? Okay. All right. Stock, what about you?
When we saw her go back home, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd try to get back up on the roof and see what she chooses to do with the rest of the day.
All right. The two of you, please, Xanilor and Stock, meaning, please make stealth checks for me for getting back up on the roof without making a ruckus.
10.
28.
Okay. Xanilor, you almost have an issue, but you're able to manage it. You almost slipped on like the same like sort of loose tile.
Glad at it.
Yeah. Stock, are you guys? I guess Xanilor, it doesn't really matter for you, but Stock and Vendi, are you guys trying to go back to sleep, or are you just staying up the rest of the evening?
I'm gonna tell Xanilor to wake me up if she starts moving. I'm gonna go back to sleep.
I mean, at this point, I think Vendi can't really continue on being as strung out as he is and has to take a full night of rest because
Okay.
like everything that he's trying is coming up short, and
Yeah.
he's hard pressed to believe that there hasn't been any abductions happening. He's getting incensed that he can't figure out how to find one happening.
Sure. Okay. So the next morning rolls around. Mishan blows through the hour before sunrise deadline, and actually gets out like 2 hours late today. Bendy, in order to not get another level of exhaustion, you would basically have to like come in even later than Mishan if you were to try to get the full night's rest.
That's fine.
And then Stock, you are going to because Xanilor is going to wake you up when she gets moving. You are going to have missed out on the full night's rest.
Okay.
So you will have a point of exhaustion, and as Mishan gets moving for the day, you can see that she's probably pretty tired too.
I only need 4 hours, right, of rest, not sleep, because
Because you're an elf. But then also,
I'm half elf.
oh, you're half elf. No, that has nothing to do with that. That's an
Okay.
elven thing. But
Actually,
I don't.
specifically for the rules of exhaustion, onset, and relief,
Mhm.
it's like a normal long rest plus food and drink. So if you have rations, if you have those, you won't incur as long as you have the 8 hours. For the purpose of storytelling, totally fine with how we went through it. Just wanted to make sure we specifically said the mechanic for
Yeah.
Vendy's level of exhaustion.
Yeah, basically that was to avoid a second level.
Mhm.
Which, like
But
I said, if you
it also cures the first.
okay, yeah.
Yep.
Why do you not sleep?
Because I have a pact. What is it? Aspect of the moon. I no longer need to sleep and can't be forced to sleep by any means, and gain the benefits of a long rest while doing light activity.
Okay, yeah, so you're fine. You don't have a level of exhaustion.
Okay.
Good job.
It's basically impossible to exhaust you as long as I don't make you fight for the entire night.
Did I also get a long rest?
Yes.
Okay. Only matters.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So getting a little bit of a late start on the day. Mishan slept in a bit, but not enough to actually constitute a full long rest, which is also to Stock why you are incurring the level of exhaustion as well.
I figured as much.
So I'm gonna roll her performance check for the day. Wow. Okay. I rolled an 18 and a 20, so even with disadvantage, she did better than she did day one.
Nice.
So yeah, you see Mishan, she's really getting back to the she looks like she's uncomfortable walking around again. When people say hi to her and stuff like that along her route, she gives kind of a meek hello. She's back to like doing a really good, like you feel like as you watch her, and this is like without a perception, but you feel like as you watch her through like this day and that first day, she almost is able to like bring more attention to her dragon mark on days like this than on days where she's like overtly like, ooh, look at this. Because it's almost like one of those things where like people like notice it more, whereas like when you're like overtly doing something counterculture-y, right? Like people tend to avert their eyes a little bit. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I didn't see that. So why don't you guys go ahead and make a perception check for me. Those of you with a level of exhaustion is with disadvantage. I think it might just be Stock.
21.
I couldn't do that again if I tried. I rolled 2 natural 20s.
Wow, that's a waste of 2 20s.
So 26.
I had a 3.
At 3. It's not necessarily a waste, but
We'll see.
Yeah, if the DC was 22, then it wasn't a waste.
All right, so you guys watch as Mishan moves much better through Basail's ward today on the Fairhaven side of Winter's Haven. You definitely see there are people who there's people who like know Mishan at this point as Kirix, and when they still see her walking around without anything covering her hands, they'll like kind of like shake their heads as she goes past and stuff like that. So like people are definitely noticing that Mishan is marked and that she is not hiding it. You guys don't see anyone following her throughout the day, and she makes it back to the house with again without seeming like she has a tail or anything like that. Is there anything you guys are doing as far as communication goes or anything like that before taking watches at the house?
I think just amongst us, I'm just gonna message both of them just in case anyone's trying to overhear us.
Okay.
Because I don't think we're necessarily right together when
No.
we're watching. And I will say, perhaps they get people in their homes, so she should just stay and sleep.
Look, man, we've been trying this for almost a week now. And we have no fucking new information. I'm willing to try it, but at a certain point, we just have to call this and come up with a new strategy.
And then cast another message. Which watch do you think would be most fruitful? The third was the one we heard the sound the other night.
I think you have our answer already.
We don't even
Do you-
know what that sound was attributed to. Could have just been drunk man getting mugged. I think Uvender should probably reach out to his people and see if there have been any more abductions in this time, and that would help determine whether or not we have had an abduction and this is being fruitless, or if it was just a general mugging.
I will relay that idea to Vendi.
Over multiple messages, because that was way more than 25 words.
Yes.
So
Message
message
is not-
does not have a word limit. That's sending.
Yep, it's just
Oh,
a
okay.
distance limit,
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, message can only be done up to
That's-
120 feet.
and it's a call and response. Like I say
Yeah.
it, you can respond, but then it's over.
Okay. At this point, I here's a question: would we have had that and it just didn't fit the narrative, or did we not try that?
Try what? Sorry.
Like would Vendi would have like? I'm assuming he couldn't just do this all day. He would have had other things to attend to based off of what we set up earlier in this session.
Mhm.
If he was still getting fed information from the council while doing this, like what narratively was behind the scenes that didn't make the narrative?
Sure. So,
Because that will inform what choice I make.
right. So essentially, because of the chaotic nature of the Eberron coast, still like things are getting figured out and be so busy.
Mhm.
Reports about people going missing are slow to come in. But like when you get them, like there's like a timeline for it, right? So you haven't heard anything yet about what happened 2 nights ago. But you do get like you won't hear anything for a couple days, and then like every couple days you'll get like 1 or 2 people were taken for like 3 consecutive nights
Okay.
or
So
days,
that
whatever. Like so unless it happens like while the family members are there to witness, it like takes some time, like if for a neighbor to notice that like a neighbor is just gone.
okay. Um, if that's the point, is like we can give it the weekend, but if it gets to the point where we spent an entire 7 days doing this, we're gonna have to try to find an entryway through some other methods. At a certain point, we're just wasting our times.
I agree. Then I don't have to pay hazard pay.
So since you've still been working with the council on like your typical day-to-day stuff, just a little more remotely because of your involvement here in the sales ward, um, do I take it to do I understand correctly then that the council is privy to the fact that you are um, doing this?
No, I think it's one of those where Vendi would have made up a reason as to why he's spending so much time in Whitehaven. That would be more like,
Do they at least know that you are working in the sales ward
yes.
right now?
I
Okay.
I think he would have made up a infrastructure project
Yeah.
that probably was something that wasn't broken,
Mhm.
but he can claim would take a long time to fix. So that
Okay.
way, no one would ask questions as to why he's out here so often.
Yeah, no worries.
Hmm.
It's somebody on
All
the
right.
board.
Okay, so what's the plan for the evening then?
I'm just going to message Stock. Stay on the third watch, and I'm going to message Vendi. Take the second.
All right.
Okie dokie.
All right. So who is on first watch then?
Just me.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
18.
18. Okay. You hear some you hear the sounds of more people than you typically hear traveling this late at night. Sounds like it could be a group of 5 or more. You don't hear any talking. They're coming from the sorry, I was gonna say, can you place yourself where you would be in the house? And Vendi, are you crashing on the same trash can?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You hear the sounds coming from the like northwest corner, this direction.
Right.
But like from the crunch of the gravel and the grass and stuff like that, you can hear that it is footsteps.
I'm just going to make sure that I'm as like pressed against the roof as I can.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
Okay.
Did you cast invisibility tonight?
Yes. So like this was the rooftop
Mhm.
routine instead of.
Okay. Roll with advantage then.
Why can't I think of what I was doing?
Rolling a stealth check.
+3
Said 23.
with advantage. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, you feel like you are in a position where like you haven't noticed anyone, like you feel like no one's noticed you because they haven't, that crunching of the gravel, the kind of rhythmic crunching of people moving slowly, cautiously, but not necessarily stealthily.
Mhm.
They haven't stopped, so they haven't noticed you. Or if they
Okay.
have, then they're really ballsy.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So what do you do now?
I'm just waiting for more to happen.
Okay.
Like I
Um,
just want to be the ears right now.
yeah. Okay. Um, all right. So a few minutes go by, and you see 6 medium humanoid figures. They appear to be, they're not monsters. That's why I hate saying humanoid, because like, a goblin is humanoid. I think.
We have
But
a certain understanding that we
kinds
are
of
in a.
yeah,
the kinds of people we would see in the city.
right. So yeah, you see 6 people walking towards the building. They're kind of fanned out a bit. You see nets, you see whips, and you see people who are armed with like standard weaponry.
Seeing that, I'm going to cast message to both Vendi and Stock and hope that they wake up.
Um, Go ahead and make a spell attack roll.
There's a 15 total,
Um,
a 29 total.
okay. Uh, Stock, Vendi, you're asleep, but suddenly you hear Xanalor's voice in your head.
Is she going for a
Very,
walk again?
very quiet. They're here. That's what I say.
So before you can say that, Stock, because basically I paused because I wanted Scott to say what he was saying.
Yep.
So you
Yeah.
hear him say, "Be very quiet," Would you say someone's here?
They're here.
They're here. Do you guys respond?
Not if he had said be very quiet.
The response would be just only we can hear it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the way message works, it's an inaudible whisper that only the
Sender and recipient.
sender and receiver can hear. Yeah.
Then I would have asked from where, what direction.
Cast
And
back
then,
northwest.
Vendi, do you respond?
No. I think
Okay.
this is just one where I don't think he knows fully how to express himself,
Okay.
especially with like the rise of frustration
Sure.
that like I think he's just ready to finally learn something new.
Make a quick perception check for me.
That is a +5. That is an 18.
Okay. You're able to catch a glimpse of a couple, not all 6 of these people, but you catch a couple of these people. They have like nets, manacles, whips, not your standard warfare items on them, but it looks like they're kitted out for capturing people.
All right. I'm gonna make sure I'm in the shadows, and I'm going to this time wild shape into a hawk.
Okay. That is where we're going to end for this week.
Woohoo! That was a lot of fun. Thanks, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hope it was good. I was very rusty and forgot to look into a lot of things, even though I double checked some stuff.
It
Wouldn't have
happens.
noticed if you hadn't said anything. I really
I
enjoyed it.
think we found plenty to do.
Yeah, I hope that was oh Jesus, it's not that. I hope that